this custom-made lens or monitor. Yeah. Tons of people.
For the championship match of the 2018 American Athletic Conference Men's Tennis Championship. Today's championship match features the Bulls of USF versus the Green Wave of Tulane. Introducing the lineup for each team first for the Bulls from USF. Alberto Orozo Carlos. Peter Bertrand. Grayson Golden. Jordan Cass. Pierre Luquette. Justin Roberts. Yakub Roger. Head coach of the Bulls is Ashley Bishop.
It's our final day in Dallas as we welcome you back to Turpin Stadium on the campus of SMU. Looking to crown a champion in the American in men's tennis as the Tulane Green Wave squares off against the USF Bulls. Take a look at how these two teams got here. Just yesterday, the #1 seed Tigers of Memphis fell to the Bulls, and of course, it seems inevitable each and every year USF playing for the title here in the American. On the other side of the bracket, the Green Wave able to overcome the 3rd seed of UCF. On that note, we welcome you inside the broadcast booth. Lincoln Rose along with Mark Bay. And Mark, here we are, one of these two programs, one match victory shy of an NCAA automatic bid and the championship here in the American.
Absolutely. I think Tulsa clearly is in because of numbers. USF, a perennial champion here, has to win today. They're hungry. Are they satisfied from yesterday? I say no. The doubles point probably going to be pivotal if USF wants to get the job done because Tulane's singles is so formidable.
We saw Tulane overcome on a rare occasion this year. Just 3rd time this year they have dropped the doubles point and managed to come back for a victory. Of course, USF, it seemed like they were able to turn on autopilot once they reached the conference tournament. A whole new look in these last few matches. Well, 3rd member of our broadcast team, Haley Outen, had a chance to catch up with both Victoria's head coaches shortly after their victories yesterday.
Haley Outen joined by Tulane head coach Mark Boris. Coach, congratulations on this win in the semifinal. After dropping that doubles point, I saw you gather your team. What was the message?
Hey guys, let's go out and have some fun in singles. No, I was a little bit more forward than that. We came out, didn't play our games. We came out a little bit scared, a little bit looking around, wondering what they were going to bring to the table. Didn't step up to the challenge, and they totally did. They were all over us and got a huge bunch of momentum. And so we just challenged the guys in singles, said, hey, listen, guys, they took that from us, made us look ridiculously bad, and let's step up to the challenge here. I don't know, nobody's going to give you anything. You've got to go and take it. We didn't take it in doubles, they did, and then we were able to kind of do that in singles.
You move on to play USF in the final, whom you met a couple of weeks ago. What can you take away from that experience?
Well, we know that they're a solid team, but we also know that they're a little bit different team than they were a few weeks ago. They've had some huge wins in the last couple weeks. we had a really good match against them, and we got a good idea of their personnel. So I think the biggest thing you get from a match like that is the confidence of taking a win, but you know their personnel. So there's a couple different lineup spot matchups as well. But I know Ashley's got their team prepared and ready to go, just like John did with his team. These guys, UCF was just really solid program there, and we're happy to get that win. But tomorrow, it's gonna be a huge challenge for us. These guys are on a roll, and they're on a roll as well. So it's a nice opportunity for a great matchup.
A chance to leave Dallas with the conference title. What will be the key to victory?
Key to victory is composure, and that's what I think our guys did really well today. So we had some chances in doubles. We were down. Singles, we were down on a bunch of different courts, and I kept on pushing the guys. Hey guys, keep your composure. It's not going to be that bad. You're going to be losing at some point, and you probably come back if you stay focused. And you might be winning at a point, and they might come back. So we got to really be patient with the whole process and keep your composure. And that's what they do. That's what we're going to have to do tomorrow against USF, because we know they're going to bring a really great product at us, but we're excited for the challenge.
Thanks a lot, Coach. Good luck.
Thanks, Haley.
Haley Outen joined by USF head coach Ashley Fisher. Coach, congratulations on this win. Coming into today's semifinal, Memphis had won 13 straight, one of those wins coming against your program just a couple weeks ago. How did your team use that experience to prepare for today's semifinal?
Well, I mean, we learned a little bit about some of their players. I mean, they've had a really good season. We knew that it was going to be a tough match, but we tried to focus more on kind of things that we can do. And we've grown a lot just in the last week. We had a great win against UCF and a really good win yesterday against Wichita State. And this group of guys has just kind of kept building. And we knew that if we were able to play well, we had a real good chance today.
Your group was able to capture the doubles point. What kind of momentum did that give your team heading into singles?
Well, I mean, the doubles point's always huge, but we really played an excellent point, and that sort of set the tone. We had great energy, great execution, and that was more important to me than just the individual point. Just us going out there, really showing we could execute well under pressure, and just using that belief to carry forward into the singles.
Having to move inside after that doubles point from the weather, how did that impact just the rhythm and the overall energy of the group?
Well, I didn't mind it because we started out, we lost, I think, 5 first games, and then the rain came down. And, we dealt with this last week when we played UCF. We thought we were playing outdoors all day. Last second, we went indoors. So, we sort of took the experience that we learned from that day, and it's one of those things, you can't control it. You can only kind of focus on what things in your control, and the guys did a great job of just kind of utilizing that mindset and coming out and really competing and battling well in the singles.
This program is remarkably undefeated in this American Championship tournament, headed to your 5th straight final. How motivated is this team to capture this year's championship?
So motivated right now.
Well, yeah, you heard Pete. I mean, the history is incredible, and that really shows what the last 4 years have been about. But, tomorrow is kind of about this team and what we can do, and we're doing a lot right now. We continue to grow, and we believe that when we play well, we can play with anybody.
All right, thanks a lot, Coach. Good luck in the final.
Thanks, Haley.
About to get underway with doubles, as this will be a rematch of a couple of weeks ago. It was Senior Day in New Orleans when Tulane last met the Bulls of USF. Again, Lincoln Rose, Mark Bay with you here on the American Digital Network. Mark, we see the pairings, the identical look. We did not expect much change in such a short turnaround from their last meeting.
No, and Tulane has been mixing their teams a bit. Coach Boris told us this morning that he feels better about the combination, even though they struggled yesterday. USF is feeling really strong at 1 and 2, and sort of court 3 has been a project. So I think with a no-ad set, 6 games, it goes so fast, anything can happen. The big deal to me right now is the flags. The flags are blowing. The guys' shirts are blowing. Wind is definitely going to be a factor in this one with the storm front that came through yesterday that made play go indoors. This is actually, I think, in doubles even more challenging to be location oriented and spot your serves and your first volley. So we'll see how the wind plays in its early stages of these doubles matches.
Of course, we weren't talking about wind yesterday in the women's championship when Tulsa claimed the title. Rain had pushed us inside, but a beautiful day on this Sunday as we are just past the noon hour here in Dallas, Texas. SMU plays host to this year's American Championship, and you take a look at what we see here in person at Turpin Stadium. 3 courts of doubles underway. You can also keep track on the scoreboard in the lower right of your screen. Number 1 doubles in your top left, doubles number 2 in your top right, and the number 3 doubles in the bottom left. And when these two teams met earlier this month, it was the 54th ranked pairing at the time of Schmitz and Moore for Tulane, defeating Barroso Campos and Golden in 1 doubles. You would see Tulane ultimately claim the doubles point, as court 3 of Rutzel and Erlenbush would also knock off Lequette and Burnett, where 2 doubles that day would go unfinished. But it is a Tulane squad that now comes in ranked 29th as a program in the latest ITA poll. 14-0 this year when they do win the doubles point. They were just 2-6 this year when they dropped the doubles point, and yet yesterday they overcame that, dropped the doubles round. But of course, here they are playing for the championship after the semifinal win.
Lots of communication. It looks like there's a fair amount of I formation usage, and definitely some teams playing both back, as it takes the pressure off the returner being able to spot the spot at the feed or down low for the volleys early on.
Well, of course, USF graduated their Conference Player of the Year from last season. Look to fill that number 1 void that we'll see later on in singles today. A slow start to the campaign. Came into the tournament 8-15 this week, but wins over 4-seed Wichita State, knocked off nationally ranked Memphis yesterday. Both of those would be 4-3 decisions on the team points. The Bulls' last loss, that matchup in Tulane in New Orleans. Most familiar, of course, with the format these days here for the doubles point. 3 courts underway. First team to capture victories on 2 of the 3 courts will claim the lone doubles point available, and 6 points available during the singles rounds. First team to capture 4 points, your champions here in the American. Of course, in doubles, we just play 1 set, and it's not to 8, just to 6. And you see on number 2 doubles, as Tulane's pairing of Schick and Stewart will capture the first game. Erlenbush and Rutzel for Tulane over on 3 doubles have captured a game as well. Beautiful venue here at SMU. Turpin Stadium on display this week, both indoors and outdoors. These men's programs had to compete inside yesterday in the semifinal rounds. We thought there was a chance we would have an all-Florida matchup, but Tulane able to survive yesterday as the number 2 seed, mentioned overcoming that doubles point loss. And of course, we'll clarify right now that USF is the combination at the bottom of your screen, Tulane across the way. With the subtle difference in the 2 greens.
Yeah, that's definitely pretty close with the lineups and the outfits today, huh? Tulane a little lighter.
We shift our focus to number 1 doubles here. Moore and Schmitz for Tulane, one of the top doubles pairings in the nation. Barroso Campos and Golden for USF.
Right away with the double fault there, you see that the wind's blowing from behind the Tulane team. So in tennis, what ends up happening is the service toss drifts a little bit forward, and often you end up having more faults in the net, and it requires the player to manage the serves on that side. And so there it is so far. He's 2 for 2 with both net faults, trying to get his lower body underneath the toss.
Bulls did capture the doubles point yesterday. to help them knock off #1 seed Memphis. USF, we will mention, oh, by the way, has never lost a match in an American Conference tournament. They are your 4-time defending champions over the years, whether it be in Memphis, Tulsa, or Orlando, the 3 cities we've been to. Now Dallas, they've taken their show on the road each year and found success on the final day each time, capturing the automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. This would be a different course for them. A slower start to the year until all of a sudden they knew exactly what to do when they reached conference tournament play.
And Coach Ashley Fisher does a great job. He works hard. Early in the season, in December, actually, former assistant coach Jimmy Arias no longer with the team, and he had done a great job. Obviously, those two being former professional players. Arias top 5 in the world, and obviously Ashley Fisher was top 10 in the world in doubles. So that combination definitely laid down a foundation that's allowed them to be so successful here in recent years. But I think that the team has responded well now, and they're having a real strong finish, and there's a lot of pride with USF in this tournament.
So Tulane pairs their top 2 individuals, Ewan Moore and Konstantin Schmitz, together. They are the 52nd ranked doubles pairing coming into this week. Moore out of Scotland, Schmitz one of the 3 Germans on Tulane. And they are trying to pull even at 1 game apiece, have a chance right here. Now, second serve coming up. Tulane coming off a year last season, which it fell in the semifinals to UCF. Go on to the NCAA, make it to the second round when they played in the regional in Austin, fell to Texas in that second round. USF would then go on to beat UCF in Orlando for their 4th straight tournament title, and would meet the Duke Blue Devils in the first round of the NCAA tournament.
So we have Grayson Golden now serving, and he tends to be the net guy and the serving volley player, and his partner Campos often is playing some ground strokes, set up ground stroke doubles, I guess, when he's serving. So to me, he'll be critical here against the wind for Golden to make a high percentage of first serves and allow Campos to move as he did on that last point, put some balls away.
Golden, a senior out of Bradenton, Florida, one of 4 Floridians on this Bulls roster. Otherwise, plenty of international representation. And nice play at the net.
Yeah, exactly. That's the job. Instead of going for, possibly the biggest serve, and Golden has an outstanding, probably 115, 120 heat of serve and doubles. Try to just take away the variables, play it down the tee, hit the spots. Much more important, especially early on, as all the teams are just trying to get their bearings on the return.
In here on #1 doubles, each side's been able to hold serve so far and just miss hit on the return.
Yeah, Golden is from IMG Academy. IMG obviously is what most people have probably for years and years known as Bolletarians, and now they have got a really strong product in terms of developing players that are playing pro and college. That's what you're going to see them try to do, is challenge Campos a little bit once they actually get into a two-back rally. The two-back sort of takes away some of the poaching opportunities right away, and then if you can get the point extended, you can start taking shots at who you perceive as maybe the weaker volleyer of the two.
So 30-30 here in this 3rd game. Tulane looking for a break. Now 1 point away from getting one.
Yeah, that's a great move there. Sneaking in, taking control of that, and not allowing them to get comfortable in the one-up, one-back rally.
It'll be 15-40 here in this 3rd game. Currently 1 game apiece in the lone set here in doubles. I mentioned all 3 doubles courts right now are even at 1 game apiece.
Oh, wow. What a slice backhand reaction to get the break.
So a 2-game-to-1 advantage for the pairing of Schmitz and Moore. After Barroso, Campos, and Golden came in looking to knock off the nationally ranked pair. And we again take a step back. Number 2 doubles in the top right, number 3 doubles in the bottom left. You see the scores right now. Tulane with the slight edge on the top 2 courts. Bulls have a chance to capture their second game in the bottom left corner on number 3 doubles. And top right, number 2 doubles. That's the pairing of Tyler Schick and Hamish Stewart for Tulane. Bottom of your screen, Sean Burnett and Peter Lequette for USF in that number 2 doubles pairing. Temperatures in the low 60s as we got started. They'll continue to climb throughout today. And the really only question is, can the wind keep it up?
That's a break at number 3 doubles for USF.
So the Bulls have their lone advantage over on number 3 doubles at the moment. Up 2-games-to-1. Number 1 doubles now Tulane at the bottom of your screen with USF across the way.
And triple break point here at number 2 doubles for Tulane.
Also the case where Tulane on number 2 doubles at the bottom of your screen. The Bulls at the top. Won't be able to claim a 3-to-1 advantage just yet over there on number 2 doubles. Still another opportunity coming up.
Great defensive net.
Yeah, number 2 doubles. Tulane hasn't been able to put away that 4th game yet. Now the Bulls here at deuce, no ad. With a chance to level it perhaps.
And they have 2 break points at number 1 as well. Big forehand by Golan there, intimidating the net player. And it's important early on to go to the net player, challenge him, see how they're going to be volleying.
Let's focus in on number 2 doubles.
It's a no ad point. And that's a heck of a game. I mean, USF was in trouble in that game, down triple break point, put together 3 solid points in a row.
So just a moment ago, Burnett and Lequette even at 2 games apiece. When a few points earlier, it looked as though Tulane was going to jump ahead 3-1.
Smart serve, big kicker, getting high up on the one-hand backhand. Wow, that's too good. Taking a return early and then moving up and taking a floater and just hitting a swing volley, not even a traditional volley or letting it bounce. Just intimidating with pace there. That's a really tough combination for
This swing right here, 15-15.
And once he recognized that his return was below net level, he was getting a floater, he just jumped on it.
Second serve now.
And that's a move. They're going to consistently put the pressure on the one-hand backhand and make him prove that he can handle not just getting a return there, but hitting it effectively.
And you're looking at the pairing of Burnett and Lequette or the USF. They fell 6-4 on court 3 last time these two met against Erlenbusch and Rutzel.
And again, everybody, is warmed up for 45 minutes this morning, but they weren't competing with pressure for 45 minutes this morning. They all played indoors yesterday, so it's going to take a little bit of time to adjust and get a sense of how much effort it takes to make these volleys.
On 2 doubles, Bertrand and Wojcik would go unfinished, but we're close.
It's a great plan there. Paying attention, work in the middle. Opportunities now for USF to go up break. High formation. Serve T. And that is really good doubles. Great positioning, moving aggressively forward as a returning team, volleying down until the other team volleys up so you can put the ball away. Again, Ashley Fisher being an ATP doubles tour player definitely doesn't hurt. All of the teams clearly understand positioning, locations, and doubles. Most of the time that's half the battle. It's like 3.6 shots on the average that a doubles point lasts. So you got to be quick and decisive about these decisions and where you're going to place the balls as things are moving so fast.
So we see Burnett and Lequette with the turnaround there. Instead of going down 3-1, a couple games later, they're up 3-2 on number 2 doubles.
It's a big turnaround.
As you take a look at the 3 courts underway, where the lone advantage belongs to the Bulls now. After the quick start from Tulane, capturing 2 of the 3 courts in the opening game.
But now they're down triple break point at number 1.
And this is back to our national pairing of Moore and Schmitz for Tulane at the bottom of your screen. And just don't have an answer there. Barroso, Campos, and Golden. So again, the 3 shots you see right now correspond to this, what you see on the board in the bottom right, with number 1 doubles in the top left, number 2 doubles top right. And the Bulls are long and will drop the 5th game now, trailing 3-2 on number 1 doubles. Well, so often it's about the energy that the players provide. A coach can only give you so many speeches this late in the season. What have you seen so far?
I just think that both teams are trying to strangle the moment, but also trying to manage the conditions, and also trying to figure out tactically what they need to do to get the job done. And you have to break it down really, how are we going to hold and how are we going to break. Each one of those games has little different pieces of information. And that's why it's great to have on-court coaching in this. But with a no-ad 6-game set, it goes by rather quickly. You don't have a lot of time to process this.
Tulane on number 2 doubles right now, trying to even it at 3 games apiece, as it'll be 15 serving 30. The Bulls at the bottom of your screen, green wave at the top. All. And again, we'll shift our full attention to number 2 doubles, where it is 30-all, with USF up 3 games to 2.
That was a good body serve there with a little bit of a move from the partner. That's just enough of a distraction to cause the shank and the miss.
Burnett and Lequette now serving 40-30 with a chance to take a 2-game lead.
And as you saw with the I formation often yesterday in the girls doubles, after they missed the first serve, they would go back to the standard position, where here the boys are still staying and actually competing, not being able to sometimes trust the athleticism of the up player. Maybe you get worried and you move them back to standard position, but that distraction of having the up person and not giving the returner a good target is often really an important part of I formation.
And it is now 4-2 for USF on number 2 doubles, with Burnett and Lequette in the driver's seat. Back to now number 1 doubles. And the pairing of Barroso, Campos, and Golden or USF against Moore and Schmitz of Tulane. Moore and Schmitz up 3-2, but serving 15-30.
One amazing point down there on 3. The player was actually falling and he dove in inside out volley sort of off of his frame. Good serve, good solid. There's a lot of traditional serve volley here with the majority of the players. It's just nice to see that lost art isn't completely lost here in college tennis.
So 30-all, as you see on the board in the background, perhaps. In a great venue, just like indoors, where it's 6 wide. All the courts side by side. You'll really feel the drama unfolding during singles when every court is in action and we start to narrow it down to the final points where we crown a champion today.
It's another volley unforced there, and across all 3 courts, I'd say there's a good 15 to 20 of those that have happened. And again, I'm going to attribute a little bit of it to nerves and some of it to Mother Nature. But now we're in the middle of these sets. Everyone's going to have to bear down and find their locations where it's going to make a difference between winning and losing.
Up 3-2, but serving 30-40.
Just long.
USF will try to insist otherwise, but it'll be deuce.
Yeah, some campaigning there. We have a little bit better perch up here from our angle. It looked a little bit, just a teensy bit long from ours.
I trust your judgment.
It's close though. We don't have the $90,000 per court, challenge system yet. That's coming in 2 years, I think. Carl Neufeld told me. Oh.
And the Bulls hang on again. No ad. It's 3 games apiece for number 1 doubles. They are hanging in there with one of the top pairings in the country.
Yeah, that was just nerves. That was definitely a nervous first volley. They ran the Aussie formation to try to take Campos' short backhand return away. He still found the feet of the serving volley, and he wasn't able to get the volley done.
They played them tight a couple weeks ago in New Orleans, but Schmitz and Moore were able to prevail 6-4 on court number 1 back then.
The circumstances, as Coach Boris said, it was just, obviously a little different today. These guys are playing for something in a circumstance, in a history, and an opportunity.
Love 15. Now 15-all. Again, Alberto Barroso Campos, the junior out of Spain. Just a couple matches mid-season. Saw Peter Bertrand step up in his number 1 singles role. Bulls continue their service on number 1 doubles.
It's good serving.
Now 30-15.
It's almost better. What Golden's doing is using a little bit of a slice cutter now. And again, against the wind, keeping the serve location moving, and actually the spin on the serve being sliced. It stays down. It's harder for these guys to tee off and hit aggressive returns.
Golden gives him the signal for the service up at the net. Golden, we mentioned, senior out of Bradenton, Florida. home of the IMG Academy.
Yeah, and then that was a good location with that serve. And the block return isn't a bad idea, but with the wind at your back, it floats just a bit long.
And a chance to go up 4 games to 3 right here. It's 40-15. Now 40-30.
Yeah, he took his eye off of it. Released his hand off the grip too early, so he didn't have any power on the volley.
Lincoln Rose, Mark Bay with you here on the American Digital Network. Yesterday we crowned a women's champion. It was Tulsa for a 3rd time in 4 years. The only team that's been more consistent, well, over on the men's side with USF, all 4 titles since the formation of the American. Looking to go 5 for 5 and overcome the fact that they are just the number 5 seed this year.
It's well played.
And here is a pivotal point coming up. Deuce even at 3 games apiece on number 1 doubles.
And that's why that 40-15 volley on top of the net becomes really important. You have to take care of business in a scoring format like this.
And both of these were NCAA programs a year ago in the postseason. Tulane this year had 10 teams on its schedule during the spring that made it to the NCAA tournament a year ago. Green Wave able to get over the hump after the last 3 years, ousted in the semifinals. Looking for their first American championship. It won the last meeting against USF, but traditionally struggled against the Bulls.
Above net level volleys that he did not take care of business on.
So again with no ad, Tulane takes the 7th game. 4-3 the advantage on number 1 doubles. Meanwhile, over on number 3 doubles, the Bulls could capture their first court up 5 games to 2. Bulls actually have just taken a 5-3 advantage on number 2 doubles as well. So number 1 doubles ultimately could prove to be inconsequential if USF can capture the other 2 courts. It would mean Tulane dropping the doubles point on consecutive days.
It's a big position because number 3 has been such a wild card for the Bulls.
In USF for a 2nd straight year now, led by Ashley Fisher, named Conference Coach of the Year in his first season in Tampa. Matching against the Green Wave of Mark Boris, who of course 9 years ago basically started this program all over from scratch. It had gone dormant for 4 years in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. And a 4-year hiatus basically means starting from scratch.
Yeah, it's an amazing job he's done. Ridiculously difficult to run a college program, let alone start one from scratch.
Past 6 years, he has had them as a nationally ranked program after they traditionally, before the devastation of Katrina, had been year in, year out in the top 25. So our focus right now, number 3 doubles up 5 games to 2. USF serving possibly 3 points away.
Well, they're just playing smart now. They're kicking the serves in, having a lot of movement from the net, playing very passionate, aggressive ground stroke and return games. So they're as competitive as they can be on the return, and they're being really organized and running plays that they can execute on the serve. It's a great combination right now. That's another first serve in a row. The volley miscues obviously are just going to be part of this doubles point today, but so far to me, just the stinginess and the organization of USF's got them in the position right now to possibly steal this doubles point.
So Tulane on their heels, able to take the last point there though. So 30-15.
Not going to cut it.
And the Bulls now 1 point away from claiming court 3.
They're against the wind, so obviously those lobs, that's usually one of the times you can tell exactly how the breeze is blowing when a lob goes up.
Bertrand and Wojcik. Wojcik, a sophomore out of Delray Beach, Florida. Paired with Peter Bertrand out of Dominican Republic. Now 40-30 after the double fault.
They've not been taking care of business on 40-15s here as a team. They've lost. It's just a momentum thing when you have the game points and you make an unforced error at that moment. You lose a point, that's one thing, but routine volleys and unforced errors, sending that message to the other team that you're not going to close the door, can be just daunting.
Still 2 more bites at the apple here to close it out. Tulane still fighting.
They're doing one heck of a job in this game.
And all of a sudden, the Green Wave can pull within 2 games.
So you have double match point now for the team duel. Number 2 doubles is 40-5-4. And now this is a no-ad as well. 2 big moments that could possibly here happen within a matter of seconds.
Yeah, it is possible USF within a couple of serves of claiming the doubles point as 2 courts could fall.
There it is. Number 2 doubles is in the record books, and now this becomes a team doubles point.
So Burnett and Luquette on number 2 doubles have taken care of business. Just 1 more court needed here for USF, your number 5 seed this season, but your 4-time defending champions in the American.
That is well done. What a great open stance backhand on the run. He kept it down.
The defending champs take the doubles point and the advantage into singles. In just a moment, Haley Outen will have a chance to catch up with Bulls head coach Ashley Fisher. And while we talk about 4-time defending champions, the 5th quest is going to be a completely different path after some struggles throughout the year. Again, you graduate significant talent off of last year's championship squad. But the Bulls take number 2 and number 3 doubles. Number 1 goes unfinished. And as a result, Coach Ashley Fisher is talking to Haley Outen after the doubles point win.
Coach, your team able to capture the doubles points. Thoughts on your start today?
Really good effort from the guys. They came out with a lot of energy and they really executed well.
All right, thanks a lot. Good luck, Coach.
Thanks, Haley.
Thanks.
All right, thank you, Haley. Of course, Ashley Fisher in his own playing days reached the quarterfinal of Wimbledon and the Australian Open. Former TCU Horned Frog when he was a 2-time All-American in college. Previously ranked number 1 in doubles in his own right back in his college days.
And in my experience traveling with the Bryan brothers, he definitely ended up getting the best of us before. So I definitely appreciate the type of person, player, and now obviously coach Ashley Fisher is. And this USF team needs business. They are absolutely in position now. It's going to be difficult, but for sure, winning that doubles point is a great step.
Well, we're going to double the excitement. We go from 3 courts to now all 6 courts will be occupied, including a nationally ranked matchup between Schmitz and Barrasso Campos there at number 1. Any other matches there that headline for you?
I think there are a lot of them. I'm really almost equally as interested because I'm just not sure how some of the players are going to handle the moment.
We saw Stewart and Golden ultimately go the full 3 sets back in their last meeting. We'll step aside here in Dallas. You're watching live coverage on the American Digital Network of the American Athletic Conference Men's Tennis Championship Singles up next.
When it comes to learning at Tulane University, there are no boundaries. Architects and scientists in New Orleans, doctors and public health experts in Africa, history and language scholars in Latin America, legal students and professors in Europe, business students in Asia. Tulaneans are all over the globe, and the world is their oyster. We've got that and a lot more right here at Tulane University.
There are other people just like you, driven, determined, those who use passion to spark creation, others who are ready to unite and discover together. It all starts with you and continues with us, the University of South Florida.
7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 21 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power 6 conference known as the American.
That ball is hit deep, left field, way back. That ball is gone. Double play ball potentially striking Stalls over to first. In time, double play, and that ends the game.
Power comes in all forms. Power is a big tackle,
a big save,
a clutch hit,
and a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
Power is respecting an opponent, officials, student athletes, coaches, and team representatives.
Power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
profanities, or other improper actions
while at the game.
Be American.
Power.
Power. Power.
Power for life.
Back at Turpin Stadium, singles just now getting underway, and we mentioned Tulane now for a second straight day dropping the doubles point. Yesterday, for just the third time in 9 tries, they were able to overcome that obstacle. They'll have to do it again today if they have a chance to be champions for a first time in the American. We start off with our nationally ranked matchup between Schmitz and Barrasso Campos on the #1 singles court. That includes Konstantin Schmitz, who earlier this week in Dallas picked up his 100th individual victory. Currently ranked 14th in singles by the ITA.
Yeah, this is a marquee matchup. Lincoln, the experience that these players have prior to school coming in often gives them the confidence to wear the badge of honor for their schools and play the top positions. And Barrasso Campos was, playing quarterfinal level, semifinal level future tennis before it wins over top 500 players in the world. And, it doesn't seem like, he's 6'6" and, looking like Zverev or Raonic or some of the guys you see on the pro tour. But the combination of the fight, the way he hits the big forehand, the way he keeps the courts really small so he's not getting pushed back too far, really allows him to have a lot of, I think, sort of ground stroke control. And then as he showed 2 points ago, he can actually sneak in a little bit himself. So he holds his first game, and to me it wasn't anything other than just a very confident behavioral mindset now. And I'd like to see how the Tulane players across all the positions respond to losing this doubles point.
So the Spaniard does hold serve in the opening game against Schmitz. We slide over to number 2 singles, where another nationally ranked individual for Tulane on display at the bottom of your screen. It's Ewan Moore, as he's matched up with Peter Bertrand. These two again met in New Orleans back then. Moore took it in straight sets, 6-4, 6-3. They would play all matches to completion, as Tulane would take it that day 6-1 against USF. But as you had a chance to talk to Mark Boris just prior to their start, I think he was expecting a much different Bulls squad today across the net.
Yeah, and he's already seen it. Both teams clearly play a lot of outdoor tennis. So it's not as if Tulane isn't able to adjust to these conditions, but you definitely get some breezy days in South Florida, and to have a doubles point and to have a condition today, I think that's obviously really favorable for a team that is primarily going to stay back and grind and fight and compete. I mean, the conditions and then actually just the nature of the pressure being on Tulane is probably setting the table here for USF to have a great opportunity.
Mentioned USF and their 4 championships. None of them were hosted by the men in Tampa. We have seen the women host once, but that year that the women were in Tampa, the men were split. They were over in Memphis. 2 titles in Memphis, 1 in Tulsa, and last year, of course, at the new facilities in Orlando at the USTA complex. A great centerpiece for college tennis. And of course today, featuring it here in Dallas at SMU. Let's go back over to number 1 singles.
That's a heck of a volley. He came in and took a volley from below net level and played an inside-out backhand fade volley on the line and held position there. Not an easy shot at all. He played it so confidently. I just think that Tulane yesterday was able to get a ton of positive scoreboard going across the 6 positions to immediately kind of dissolve some of that pain of losing the doubles point. I wonder how quickly.
And Schmidt will try to hold serve now, just needing 1 more point. 40-30. Konstantin Schmitz this year 4 times named Player of the Week in the conference. 10 times in his career he's received that honor. But already this year named the American Athletic Conference Men's Tennis Scholar Athlete of the Year. In fact, member of the women's Screen Wave program, Lauren Bartles, also captured that individual honor. But Schmitz, mentioned one of 3 Germans on this Tulane roster against the Spaniard Barroso Campos. And there's a souvenir ball.
Well, he just has to keep his eye on the ball. It's an easy or said than done type of concept, but on a windy day, it's easy to shank. And we've seen several miscues already, and there'll be more.
In deuce, no ad. Barroso Campos actually has a chance for a break here to go up 2 games. We could just as easily be even, 1 game apiece. And it will go the way of holding serve. Konstantin Schmitz evens it 1 game apiece on number 1 singles.
Little sigh of relief there. He was not striking the ball as confidently as he was yesterday. Definitely a little nervous about going down a break, and Campos was almost gaining shot to shot in that rally. It was much more of a surprise that he made that error, in my opinion, just from body language.
On our 6 courts, we saw Tulane take the first game on exactly half of them. Bulls took the first game on the remaining 3. Among those courts in which Tulane found itself in the driver's seat was number 2 singles, but Bulls looking to level it right here, 40-15.
Oh, that's a great shot. Short little slice, service line level that he bites low.
And again, that final ball just long, so Peter Bertrand has leveled it 1 game apiece with Ewan Moore.
I'd say across the board, I was rather impressed yesterday at all of the top teams, how well the men were able to use a slice backhand tactic from an offensive standpoint, a neutralizing standpoint, and then, you know, to try to create opportunities for their forehand.
And Ewan Moore, Peter Bertrand. Moore serving at the top of your screen. Ewan, the 6'3" sophomore out of Scotland, has not finished a singles matchup this week, as his teammates
well played.
Been able to get the job done a little bit quicker and help the Green Wave reach this championship on this final day. Tulane, again, the number 2 seed this week. Bulls able to overcome top seed Memphis to reach as the 5 seed.
The last point, with Moore coming forward, is a recipe for everyone in this building to hit the aggressive shot from that end through the backhand corner. Gives lots, like right there, you gives it opportunities, and there's going to be a ton of free points and opportunity volleys when you approach through that side today.
As it'll be 30 love here at 1 game apiece on number 2. USF with the benefit of capturing the doubles point. Right now just needs half of the 6 courts of singles to claim a 5th team title here in men's tennis. Tulane with the burden of taking 4 of 6, something they were able to do yesterday in the semifinals. Moore serving 40 love to go up a game. And a second serve coming up. The double fault will lead to 40-15. Our 6 courts even at 1 game apiece. And just as I say that now, 3 of them even at 1. Tulane on the other 3 courts with the advantage. And more courts now starting to go the way of the Green Wave. As you see that again here on number 2 singles as it follows suit. Inching ahead now, Ewan Moore matched up with Peter Bertrand for the 2nd time this month.
Both of these coaches are, I think, rather calm, great demeanors, not going to allow the momentum shifts in college tennis, which are rampant, to affect the way they handle the players. It's nice to see it. It's not necessarily that it has to be a laid-back environment, but it's important that the player and the coach have the right type of team language on the bench, and the player doesn't necessarily feel either the anguish or the anxiety of the moment there. You can keep them like the little conversation that Boris had with his player, to me, just looked like they were relaxing on the couch someplace, not that they were in a conference championship discussion. And I think that the players have to have the mindset of being neutrally even while they can focus on their own point, which is difficult to do when there's so much noise going around in 6 matches all state that are rather important across the line.
For the first time today, we look in on court 6, even 1 game apiece. For Tulane, it's Tim Rutzel with a 30-15 advantage here in the 3rd game, matched up with Sean Burnett. Burnett across the way with the serve. 15-30. This is the only court right now in which the Bulls are not down by a game.
Steady formula for all players on that side, but definitely the way he's been playing all tournament long is dictating with his forehand, very quick with his feet, using a combination of heavy roll forehands and aggressive forehands to create opportunity balls. And no different there.
Burnett serves now 30-all. Sean Burnett, sophomore out of Wesley Chapel, Florida. 0 for 2 this week in singles against Wichita State and Memphis in the last 2 days. He and Rutzel went to a tiebreak their last meeting in the first set before Rutzel would close it out in 2. Bulls with the benefit of that doubles point right now, the only point captured, as we are early on all 6 courts here in singles. Again, while we just played 1 set in doubles, best of 3 sets on each of these singles courts.
Missed it, overplayed the forehand. So now he's got a no-ad point here. Again, no-ad is always the receiver's choice. Often you'll see the receivers take the ad side if the player is right-handed.
Rutzel will await the serve from Burnett. Burnett has a chance to give the Bulls their first advantage on a court here in singles.
And that's a big moment there.
That's the excitement of no ad, that lone point, the difference between one of these two going up 2 games to 1. This time it's Sean Burnett now in the driver's seat on number 6 singles.
And I've been covering these college matches, Lincoln, since 2014, so now 4 years into this. There's never been one coach that actually has the statistics of how his players do on no ad. So, you know, they don't want to know actually because they think it's too much of a head thing with the players, whether they're good or bad at it. It's interesting to me that no one would have an actual tally of how their players or their team or their doubles teams or anyone really does execution-wise at no ad when it's such a big part of the sport scoring-wise.
And we can see how exciting that can get late in a match, how quickly somebody who's leading can squander that no ad point, and all of a sudden momentum to the other side. Back to Moore and Bertrand on court number 2.
Yeah, but in this type of format, not only does Tulane need to win a bunch of first sets, but they actually have to, you know, stay on top of those matches, because things can turn in college tennis. So I can't say that it's an advantage to lose the doubles point, but I think that because they lost it yesterday, they probably are able to stomach the loss of today and try to come back out and put together some singles matches and win this.
It's 40-30.
Lots of close line calls.
And now deuce, another no ad moment, which could either level us 2 games apiece or put Ryan Moore up 3-1. Moore receives this serve.
Well played.
And Bertrand will in fact pull even on court 2, 2 games apiece. And we've seen a few things start to go the way of USF now on the last 2 courts we've looked in on. We saw Tulane go up a game on 5 of the 6 courts. Now 2 of those have been leveled at 2 games apiece. with the Bulls in the driver's seat on a third. As we stay here with Peter Bertrand of USF, Ewan Moore of Tulane. Tulane last played for a tennis championship back in Conference USA. Unsuccessful in that effort. As Mark Boris, we mentioned, has Tulane right on the cusp of picking up where they left off before they discontinued the program.
And he deserves a ton of credit. Obviously, I've known him since we were kids in Chicago growing up. He and his brother Jamie were both top players in college, and I feel that the blue-collar sort of Midwest work ethic he's brought down to this program is starting to shine through. Having top 30 programs in college is not easy, and the demographic of a lot of the players he's had, you know, obviously the #1 player had extensive injuries. Several players were, you know, doing fairly well at the end of their juniors, but most of his team were not lighting up the, you know, the world on fire in ITFs and pro events. He actually took some chances, and these chances have worked out, and now he's been able to build his own product, and obviously after not having a team for several years after Katrina to be a perennial NCAA tournament contender, I think just shows a lot to what he's done and what I think the administration of Tulane is giving him that opportunity to do.
The program was shut down for 4 years before he was brought in 9 years ago. Is this where I'm supposed to mention your Midwestern work ethic? Lincoln Rose, Mark Bay with you here on the American Digital Network. Haley Outen down patrolling the courts as well. A beautiful day to crown a champion. We are outdoors today at Turpin Stadium on the campus of SMU, right on the perimeter of campus.
It's the battle of the light green versus the dark green. What would you call it? Kelly green versus pine green?
If you dig deep enough into the two websites of the universities, you'll find the exact codes if you need to go to Home Depot and find the paint to match.
I just haven't looked at my Crayola box in quite some time. I just can't come up with it right now.
So again, here on #2 doubles, 40-15. I'd say doubles, singles, obviously.
He makes a ton of sort of daring net appearances. Sometimes he doesn't always have passing shot player in an uncomfortable position, but he trusts that his hands and his volleys can get it done, and that was really what happened. I mean, the ground stroke was ripped at him really well, and he just kept his wrist firm, able to hit a volley winner.
So Ewan Moore holds serve on court #2, leads 3-2, as Tulsa now with the advantage on 5 of the 6 courts in the midst of the opening set on all 6 of our courts. As you see Coach Boris again talking to Ewan Moore. Mark Boris assisted by Chris Simpson this year. Let's take you back over to, again, our nationally ranked matchup between Schmitz and Barrasso Campos. Barrasso Campos helped clinch the win back against Wichita State in the quarterfinals. Remember, the Bulls having to play Wichita State, followed by Memphis this week over the last couple of days. Both of them would go 4-3. Some stressful days in Dallas for your 4-time defending champs. Constantine Schmidt up 3-2. Serving 40-15 to go up 2 games.
Roll off balance on that backhand there.
40-30.
Going back and taking his time, going to the towel. That's something that you watch a lot of professional tennis. The moment they lose a point or they're getting ready before an important point, you'll always see them request the towel from the ball kid. The mental reset mechanism is key. He's been a little off on the forehand, though. I can't say that he has been as sharp out here today, spotting the forehand as well as he was yesterday.
So deuce in the 6th game of the opening set. Schmidt still has a chance to go up 2 games. A year ago, he likely would have missed the championship had Tulane gotten past UCF. He was injured, keeping him out of the semifinals. They certainly missed his presence at number 1.
That's a great play, but it was a bit of a measured and sort of cautious point. Both guys playing more balls through the middle, and then finally Campos steps up and gives that backhand on the rise a rip.
Rosso Campos with the break, now even 3 games apiece.
And that's significant because it's felt like the scoreboard should be a lot different.
Head over to court 5 now, where it is 3 games to 2 at deuce. And Schick and Wojcik. You see Schick now up 2 games after that last point goes his way.
It's a great battle. All-American battle in this matchup. There's quite a few international players in this one, but you know, Wojcik from Delray, it's coached by his father, call him Cuba. Tyler Schick, coached actually by his dad, Richard. So 2 American players playing against one another in a primarily international match, and they both were coached by their dads. Interesting.
So Bulls at the moment enjoying the lone point that's been awarded thus far, as they took 2 of the 3 doubles courts for the doubles point. At the moment, Tulane with the advantage across the courts, as we're seeing action still all 6 in the opening set. In a little bit, we may see court 4 progress on into the 2nd set in favor of Tulane. But right now we stay with court 5 between Tyler Schick and Jakub Wojcik. Wojcik, a sophomore out of Delray Beach, Florida. Schick, a junior out of Short Hills, New Jersey, described by his coach, Mark Boris, as a young man who's gone through the typical American experience with tennis growing up, playing the various circuits.
And he's coming in a lot. He's using a nice mix of hitting the kick serve, creating space in the last game, making it challenging for Wojcik with the one-hand backhand against the wind. Wojcik's got to play a little bit tighter to the baseline when he's on that end.
So 5 games to 2 over there on court 5, and here is court 4, where a decisive advantage for Erlen Busch against LeQuint, up 5 games to 1. And it's 15-all right now. Now 30-15 in the 7th set. Again, Erlen Busch and LeQuint here on number 4 singles. Again, a pause in action on number 4 after
pretty quick first set.
Now wrapped up the opening set.
And Lacquette was a hero yesterday in terms of clinching, but today he's not been on the mark with the forehand, and Erlenbush has done a really nice job so far.
Right now, looking across the 6 courts, Tulane still with the lead in 5 of the 6 opening sets. That includes court 4, where they will go into the second set up after taking the first set 6-1. Well, we go from one end of our 6 courts to the other, to court 5 between Schick and Wojcik. And this where Schick leads 5 games to 2 at 30-15.
Well, it's monkey see, monkey do. Schick was doing a bit of a serve volley and coming in on the ad side, and he's taking a page out of. Schick was doing that, and Wojcik's taking a page out of his book.
Now 30 all. That is Wojcik at the top of your screen. Schick on the near side. You're at the bottom.
No, it's too bad. He had a nice forehand, but then a bit of a delay as he was coming in. Didn't fully commit to it, and the defensive angles just good enough to get him tangled.
30-40.
People are going to be a lot more dangerous on the run of their forehands than they are on the run of their backhand, with obviously the Lexilon strings today, open stance footwork.
Wojcik could be a point away from claiming the opening set on court 5.
And that play is going to work again. We talked about that. Everyone at the top of their screen hitting aggressive forehands through their opponent's backhand corners. That's where the wind's blowing, getting the most Mother Nature support.
So now deuce. And we're either looking at the close of the first set here, or perhaps pulling back within 2 games. And it'll be the latter.
He's looking at his strings, but it's not about the strings. He just needs to step up and crush the ball. When you're on a breezy day and you're against the wind, you want to hold your court position as best you can, and you want to be aggressive as you're penetrating the ground strokes.
Those strings take a lot of criticism throughout a match.
It's a great return there.
Schick was able to topple Wojcik back in New Orleans, 6-2, 6-2 in straight sets. A couple weeks ago in the regular season finale in which these 2 teams met. Action has already moved on to the second set, both on courts 3 and 4, with Tulane taking the opening set on both. Remember, Tulane has the burden of taking 4 of these 6 courts here in singles after dropping the doubles point.
And there's the play. It doesn't get old. I mean, if I've looked at that play across all 6 courts, I think it's had a 90% return on the investment. Approach shot through, high volley, textbook, beautiful technique.
Wojcik able to sneak it in. And again, here's your quick update on all 6 courts. Mentioned courts 3 and 4 about to get started in the second set. In fact, they are both now underway in set 2. Tulane on the other 4 courts now has the lead in the first set on all 4 of those courts. So the Bulls, who need to capture just half of the 6 at the moment, do not have an advantage to look at on any of the 6 at the moment. A lot can change though. Still early on here. So by the end of today, we'll be crowning a champion. Will it be a 5-time champion going back to Tampa and USF, or will it be a first-time champion, Tulane? Either way, we imagine there will be some merchandise available in green. And we've just seen things leveled now on number 2 singles at 4 games apiece. Right now our focus on 5 singles between Schick and Wojcik.
That's a good point. Wojcik just need to get up to the backhand slice approach shot a little bit sooner. The ball's dropping much faster than he realized just because Schick's shot isn't getting to him. He's against the wind, so those balls are going to die a little bit. And that's a great sneak by Wojcik. He didn't plan on coming in behind that, but he saw his shot, picked up a little bit of wind-aided power, and he obviously saw his opponent a little bit off balance, and he took off, and that's a great recognition.
Well, after some gloom earlier when I read across the scores, we'll point out USF now has leveled it at 4 games apiece in the opening set on the top 2 courts. And over to court 3, we are already into the second game of the second set. After dropping the first set 6-3, you have Grayson Golden up a game here in set number 2 against Hamish Stewart. Stewart out of Scotland in his first year as a collegiate athlete, the 6'3" freshman. Clinched yesterday for Tulane on court 3. Of course, that was inside in the Brookshire Family Pavilion to help secure the victory against 42nd ranked UCF, your 3 seed coming into the tournament. The 2 seed Tulane able to prevail into today's championship. And Tulane all year long only twice was able to overcome dropping the doubles point. They're now being asked to do it twice in 2 days.
That was really strange that Golden fell down there. Split step and left foot just got tangled. Transitions and moves forward well. He was rather key to the win yesterday. Was down a break in the third, and his position came roaring back and showed a lot of passion and fight, and had been a point that was hard to get for the USF team during out the season. He was only on his 3rd win coming into the tournament, and he just, in my opinion, looked like one of the best points yesterday when it mattered the most. So congratulations to him. And
just cannot sneak it over the net, and it'll go 15-30.
That's tough. He reached out, didn't bring his body all the way to the ball. And days like today, all the little things, those teensy technical things that your coaches talk to you about back when you were a kid, some of those matter when you really need to control the ball, especially under pressure.
Well, we'll note the Bulls and some of their obstacles this year. They lost senior Justin Roberts back in the fall, out for the year. He likely would have played one of the top 2 spots in this lineup. As a result, everybody else shifts up a spot, perhaps. Some growing pains early on. But there was something about reaching the conference tournament. It all felt so familiar for many of these Bulls, as they have made their way back to the final for a 5th straight year.
Great return. Just think you have to be a lot more organized on a day like today when you're against the wind serving, because you don't have as many opportunities to apply pressure. It's easier to get behind in the point, so you have to be careful where you choose to play your first 2 shots.
And this is court 3. Golden for USF at the bottom of your screen. Across the way, Hamish Stewart for Tulane. And we see the occasional reminder that the student athletes call their own lines.
Well, he's looking up at one of his teammates that is giving him an opinion, so that's why he's.
And just unable to sneak it in.
He's great with the slice backhand. He used it in an offense and defensive capability yesterday, and that turned the match around.
Now half of our courts progressing into the second set, all of them with Tulane up 1-0. On courts 3 and 4, we did see USF bounce back to claim the first game of the second set.
Yeah, it's tough. A chip and charge, forehand chip and charge cross court. I can't say that that was a percentage choice that he made. Opening up angles, and the ball just floated a bit.
And again, your broad overview. Courts 3, 4, and 5, all in the second set. And we have just seen now court 1 with your top-ranked competitor featured in this matchup being Konstantin Schmitz, 14th in the country, and he does take that first set against Barroso Campos. Strings and tape. Strings and tape. Constant adjustment, if for no other reason, nothing else to do, just to stay busy.
A little bit more difficult to grip that racket when it's windy.
So Konstantin Schmitz gets ready for a second set. And we slide over next door to number 2 singles, Ewan Moore, Peter Bertrand. Moore took the first point here of this 10th game, 15 love, but now trails a game, 5-4 to Bertrand. Bertrand was the only individual to claim a court for the Bulls in the meeting 2 weeks ago. And he knows that the Bulls will be relying on him to do so again today if they have a chance to claim the title.
Oh my goodness.
Just climbs up
wow.
and over.
How does that get over? He's laughing because he knows, but he'll take it at this point. USF clearly, with a big scoreboard like this, all the players are going to be looking at the scoreboard and know how each other are doing. So just to be able to get a first set and have some type of positive feel good can send a little bit of, I guess, sort of team spirit through the veins of the other competitors. So this is rather important if Bertrand can actually hold here and win this first set.
15-30, second serve coming up. The best thing one of your teammates could probably do for you is try to figure out where the off switch is for that scoreboard. There's only one court you can control.
There's no doubt, but in this sport, it's difficult for them not to check. That's really good tennis.
30-all.
And the movement, you know, his shots have the quality, but he's positioning himself so he can take care of business on the next shot after his quality balls. And great movement there. Open stance return.
And we are still in the first set here on court 2. Bertrand is up 5-4. Could be 2 points away from claiming the set. Could also be 2 points away from seeing the set continue at 5-all. Second serve now for Bertrand. see the indication there. USF as a team leads 1 point to none, claiming that doubles point, but all 6 singles courts still up for grabs.
Oh, it's a great passing shot too. That's one of the few times where that tactic hasn't worked, but good footwork, getting the volley, just more difficult than it needed to be. I like what Moore did. I mean, he was trying to make the right play, playing the volley up the line there, just missed it a little long.
Set point.
And the first serve.
So Bertrand will take the opening frame on court 2. And he becomes the first bull to claim the opening set today. You see court 5 still underway in that first set, as he must win by 2 games. And let's see if we can't venture over to court number 5, as everybody else has progressed on to the second set. Soon enough, these two will join them, but this is Jakub Wojcik for USF, Tyler Schick for Tulane. Another chance to check in on them. It is Wojcik's serve. Was serving 30 love. Second serve coming up here.
Smart serve. Just pays dividends today to go ahead on that side and use the kicker maybe even 40% of the time instead of just going for the big flat one.
We're a point away perhaps from seeing our first tie break today. If Wojcik can level it 6 games apiece here in the first set.
Double fault.
And again, this has been a frequent chat today, as Coach Boris back with you and Moore on court 2. Mentioned Moore was the only Tulane individual to fall 2 weeks ago, and at this moment saw that first set slip away 6-4. And the rematch today against Peter Bertrand. Moore's been such a bright spot this year in that 2 spot. Mentioned he's ranked right now 105th by the ITA. One of our top individuals on display today. Konstantin Schmitz, of course, over on court 1, his teammate. The only individual to outrank him as an individual on his team. But right now, Tyler Schick and Jakub Wojcik.
First point of the tiebreaker.
Tiebreak, first to 7, must win by 2.
Oh my goodness, he misses that volley. See, right now with the wind at his back, you'd like to see him 4-2 or 5-1 ahead before he actually has to change ends. So now already at an 0-2, he really needs to turn this around because there's a bit of a condition advantage on the other side.
Again, Wojcik is looking to become just the second bull to take the opening set, but that rests on his performance here in the tiebreak.
And there he comes, and that's the pattern that pays today. So he's got to make sure he gets completely dialed in now. There's no time to take a point off. With only 1 set across the board for the team, if he can get a second set here, that means that the team would possibly only have to maybe turn 1 match.
And as Mark was just alluding to, Bulls have the benefit of that doubles point, which means they only need half of the courts. They've already claimed the first set on 1. have a chance to do so here. Court 2 went their way. Can court 5 as well?
That's a great point. And it was set up by a quality backhand. That's a wonderful one-hand backhand that he hits, and he was able to get not just some heavy topspin on it, but he was able to hit it hard and get it to move through the sideline, which opened up some space for that forehand on the rise.
So that levels it 2 points apiece here in the tiebreaker. Serve from Schick.
And he completely took his off of it. This has been 3 points in a row here. And you know, to my way of thinking, if he can get this fourth one, that'll help him out quite a bit.
Just a moment ago. As that gave Wojcik the 3rd straight point after falling behind 0-2. Second serve for Wojcik.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, just had too much time to think about it. And we're even 3 points apiece in the tiebreak.
And it's tough because too much time to think, but also too much time for the wind to swirl that ball. And whatever he perceived was the impact point for it changed dramatically. And tennis, you got to take care of those.
That was not something they needed to adjust for yesterday. Again, the men were inside, as were the women, due to the rain throughout the day. Brag on the facilities crew yesterday doing their best to make the surface playable outside if needed, but the rain just was not going to allow it. Obviously great conditions today on the court. You see those numbers as 5 of the 6 courts have all progressed into the second set, 4 of them in favor of Tulane, who needs to capture 4. But we remain focused right now on the only matchup still in set 1 right now, the tiebreaker.
And Wojcik missed his first serve here at both of these points, and just missed it long.
That is long. That adjustment. Wojcik up 4-3.
Yeah, there's an adjustment. So when you change ends, you have to remind yourself and then really almost recalibrate all of your aim points and target locations.
I know you had that in mind when you thought Wojcik would need to have an advantage flipping to this side. Instead, would come over at 3-all.
Oh, that's well done. You love to see. I'm not sure if hopefully he's not hurt. Maybe he's just embarrassed. That on the rise ground stroke back behind him is a great choice, particularly late in sets and late in matches when players start cheating with their hips. And that clearly was, after he makes this shot, he's thinking, oh, I'm going to have to go to the open court. And then back behind him, he catches him, wrong foots him.
Just lost his footing.
Yeah, that's the beauty of hitting back behind players on the rise.
So Schick serves down 3-5 here in the tie break. Wojcik just needs 2 more to become the second bull to take the opening set.
Each one of these first serve faults, though, are almost like mini momentum shifts in and of themselves.
And Schick will pull a point back, serving 4-5 in the tie break now. And pardon me, ball back over to Wojcik for the serve. Again, we saw Tulsa's women yesterday hold off the host University Mustangs, a 5 seed in their own right. SMU women were being asked to win a 4th match in 4 days riding a 9-match winning streak, but ultimately Tulsa proved to be a tad too much, capturing their 3rd title in 4 years. Today we see the program that has defined the men's side of things in the American, and has not been a simple task for USF. You talk about an American conference which boasts about as many teams in the NCAA tournament in recent years as any other major conference. Yet the Bulls continue to find a way to be the last team standing.
After a great serve volley point from Wojcik, he just misjudged that. He a little bit too passive with his footwork and the ball jumped on him.
6-5, must win by 2. Chance to do that here. Schick trying to level it. Jakub Wojcik dictating the pace.
Oh, wow, that's a great
point. And will take the opening set on the tiebreaker.
Yeah, he played well. Great hitter mentality. Kept his court small, and then with the opportunity, this inside-out forehand ends up being a great choice because he can hit it as hard as he wants there, because that's the complete opposite of the way the breeze is going. So he knows he's not going to overplay that. Great choice.
So number 5 singles, the last to progress into the 2nd set. And it'll be the 2nd court where the Bulls will have an advantage going into that 2nd frame. The other, of course, up there in the top right corner on court number 2. But we're going to zoom in on court 3, where Tulane could be capturing its first point of the day and pull us even 1-1. Again, this is a matchup between Grayson Golden of USF, Hamish Stewart for Tulane.
Critical for Golden here to try to connect to yesterday's passion and try to hang in a little bit longer, not allow his match to be done so quickly.
Well, you mentioned so quickly. Ironically, they were the longest matchup. The last time they played, they were the only one to go 3 sets.
In last year's actual final, it was a complete inverse at every position. Whoever won before lost that day. In last year's final against UCF, I'd never seen anything like that, where it was a complete replica of a match and all the different sort of factors and players in the match flipped.
Nobody loved it more than the USTA and that new facility over there, putting on some great drama at the college level. So Stewart right now 2 points away from taking court 3.
And Golden's got to dig deep.
Second serve will be required.
Yeah, see, that's the type of tennis he was playing yesterday. That slice is, I mean, arguably one of the better ones across all 12 players. And once he hits it that well, the player has to play back up to him, and then it generates an opportunity forehand for him. And he just crushes that up the line. Good weight transfer. Coached by Travis Eckert back at IMG. And
so Stewart now needs the next 2 points to lock this one up. Otherwise, it's Golden pulling within 3 games.
Coach Fisher really feels that Golden has just turned the corner a little bit here at this tournament, and will, if you're fortunate enough to make it to the NCAA tournament, make more contributions here and carry that into his future years.
So the double fault gives the game away. It'll be 5-2 in the second set. Still overall leaning in favor of Hamish Stewart. But Tulane's going to have to wait a little bit longer to get on the board officially. Still trailing 1-0 after the doubles point went to the Bulls. We check back in on number 2 doubles. Again, this is an area where the Bulls expect to shine. As Peter Bertrand trying to beat Ewan Moore for the second time this month.
I just think that when you have a chance to close out a match in a dual format, it's important to get it done. Yesterday, the Memphis number 2 player had a 5-love lead in the second set, wasn't able to get it done. Took him another 5 games to close out, and it just kept the match and all the other components going around him live, and USF was able to get some more momentum late in the match and flip it.
In that matchup we just looked in on over on court 3 is still by far the favorite to be the first to be closed out if Tulane can get the job done. Bulls putting up a fight, if not leading on the other courts in the second frame. And of course an advantage here on court 2 for Bertrand. He serves to Moore. And that's 3-1 for Peter Bertrand in the second set. 3 games away from perhaps making it 2-0 USF. So you're looking at exactly half of our 6 courts underway. And you get the overall picture there in the bottom right corner of your screen. Bulls still with the lone tally officially from the doubles point. You see USF on court 4 battling back, trying to force a 3rd set. Love to win it in straight sets on court 2 and court 5, where they're just about to get started on court 5 with the second set. Tulane unable to lock it up a moment ago on court 3, but still will have some more chances. And of course, court 1, top left of your screen. Our marquee matchup between the number 1s of Tulane and USF. A great day as it has panned out for this championship for the men. You hear some wind occasionally whipping through our microphones. Some of the players' shirts also double as a windsock. Well, so many courts to choose from. Where would you like to go?
I think we are going to get close to, well, I guess it's hard. I mean, if Grayson Golden doesn't want to go away, it's going to take a while down there.
See Golden putting up a fight on number 3. After he was 2 points away from facing the end of his day and his time here in Dallas. Well, it's been a while since we checked in on Constantine Schmitz and Alberto Barroso Campos, as Schmitz again took the first set 6-4. Leads here in the second set 4-2. Well, the Bulls have been really pleased with what they've seen from Alberto, as when he has been healthy, really has had a lot of pressure on his shoulders to carry things at number one. And Mark, as much of a fight as Golden has put up there over on court three again, he is facing match point as Hamish Stewart can close it out.
Oh, he holds. It's a good effort.
So that was the closest we've seen. We saw in the previous game within 2 points. That one at deuce and no ad, a chance to end it. But Golden continues to find a way to extend that match.
A lot of driver's seat positions for Tulane across the courts. For me, I call a driver's seat when someone is winning by a set and then a break as well.
And we see that on court one as well as court three. Right now you're looking at number 3 singles, as Hamish still looking to put an end to this in straight sets. And now 15-all. And he took the first set 6-3. Right now it's 5-3 as Golden has battled back in the last 2 games to take them.
It's tough. I mean, the USF guys, with all the pride and the passion that they are playing with, they still have had some tough matches in the quarters and then the semis to beat Memphis, and now to try to back it up and beat the 1 and the 2 seeded teams in the tournament on consecutive days is definitely not easy. And you're starting to see just the energy, the passion, the legs, the fight. To be able to sustain that day after day after day is not easy at this level.
Hamish Stewart, again, just a freshman, looking to help guide Tulane to its first ever title in the American. And here we go again. Golden has seen this before. It is match point on court 3. Stewart with the exclamation point has just pulled the championship even at 1 point apiece. The first singles court to fall, court 3, captured by Hamish Stewart in the green wave.
Great job. Nice toss. Weight transfer going to the big part of the box. Lots of passion, energy. He's pumped.
Tulane has to take 4 of these 6 courts. Now they need 3 of the remaining 5. He was hoping to get it done. Remember, 2 games earlier, had to wait, but it's still the fastest court of the day. And now dominoes can start to fall quickly. Take a look at court number 1. At court number 1 again, Rosso Campos or USF is matched up with Konstantin Schmitz. And Tulane right now with an extra cheerleader for the rest of the day. Again, Schmitz took the first set 6-4, leads 5-2 here.
But an unforced error and a double fault. So he's trying to serve out the match and he's already put himself up against it.
Rosso Campos up 30 love.
Yeah, so didn't really do much with that forehand. So he throws a fastball right down the middle of the plate. Campos just completely annihilates that passing shot for love 40.
Again, we are even 1 point apiece. Doubles point for the Bulls. A singles point on court 3 for Tulane. And it's now 5-3. As holding off elimination for the moment, Barroso Campos claiming the game. And we'll have the serve coming up. Well, if he can win his serve, all of a sudden you're back within a game and a little closer to forcing a third set.
Yeah, that's the play.
Schmitz, a 4-time Conference Player of the Week this year, including 3 straight weeks he was able to rattle off the top honor. Schmitz picked up the win yesterday in his match at #1 against Levet of UCF in straight sets. Unfinished in the quarterfinal.
Barroso Campos is a gamer, and he knows how important it is. He's won so many matches for this team. He will give everything he has left to try to get over the finish line for his team. That little serve and volley tactic is a smart play that he uses sometimes as a surprise tactic.
Alberto dropped the first set against Wichita State, came back to claim sets 2 and 3, ultimately to clinch that quarterfinal win for the Bulls. And that's when the 5 seed realized it would not be an early exit for what would have been their first ever loss in conference tournament play. They're still undefeated all time coming into today in the American postseason.
Three match points. That's a good play.
2 more match points though remaining for Schmitz.
Takes that middle backhand and crushes across court, hits it really clean. Ball stays down, he gets in fast behind it.
And while we talk about 2 more match points, all of a sudden at the same time, Barroso Campos just as easily 2 points away from pulling within a game in set 2, buying himself more time. A second serve coming up.
Missed it.
And Konstantin Schmitz will give Tulane their first lead of the day. He takes court 1, and it's Tulane in the driver's seat now in the championship, 2-1 overall. We've now seen 2 singles courts fall for Tulane, your #2 seed. Let's see if we can't check in a moment in on court #3, where Tulane could quickly now go up 3-1. And they actually have. So just a moment ago, locking things up now, a 3-1 advantage, as Stewart was able to knock off Golden there. Now we saw Schmitz as well, and let me step back. It is still 2-1 as we go into court 4.
And you still see this constant sort of transition theme from all of Coach Boris's players. He's been working this group of guys on the bottom end, and you just feel like Erlenbush understands that if he has any chance to come forward, it's better for him to apply the pressure and get in the face of the opponent than to lay back and play defensive.
Louis Erlenbush, Pierre Lequette.
Another first serve. First serves are, boy, they're just worth their weight in gold. One point away from closing out yesterday's clinching hero.
So Erlenbush serving 40-15. This to give Tulane the 3-1 advantage. And a second serve for match point. It'll be 40-30, still match point.
Yeah, definitely a nervous match point there. With a 40-15 lead, I think he should have gone, you know, so much easier said than done from our vantage point, but you have to find that big target area where you can hit aggressively until you get the ball that you feel most comfortable transitioning or finishing with.
And Erlenbush, the sophomore, did beat Lequette in straight sets back in New Orleans, a home match for Tulane a couple weeks ago. It's been a tighter matchup here, and there it is, Tulane with its third singles victory, now in the lead 3-1 in today's championship.
Big time play. I mean, it's served against the wind out wide, the second match point, big serve.
After dropping that doubles point, and we've harped on this, Tulane needed to take 4 of 6 while the Bulls just needed half to defend their title. All of a sudden, it's the Bulls on the ropes with no margin for error. They must take all 3 remaining courts, as we've already seen courts 1, 3, and 4 go final for the Green Wave. So court 2, court 5, and court 6 still contested. As you see the views here at Turpin Stadium.
But nothing's going to be resolved anytime soon, folks. We're going to be here for a while.
As our United States and Texas flags being put to the test today. As right now we're back to number 2 doubles. Again, this was a matchup where Ewan Moore had had his struggles this year against Bertrand, but Moore has battled back here in the second set, up 5-3, trying to force a third set. And let's jump over to number 6 now. Tulane's Rutzel took the first set 6-3, but trails now 5-4 in the second set to Burnett.
It's often easy to get to 3, Lincoln, but it's not always easy to get to 4. Especially when you lose the doubles point.
way it's played out, there are no two adjacent courts still being contested, as it's all spread out now across this venue. And that has left coaches as well as now idle players choosing which court to shift their focus to.
Didn't do enough with that approach shot. Sat it up high, brought it back into his body on the backhand.
And Tim Rutzel for Tulane. And the 6'4" German with the backhand there out of Munich, Germany. Burnett here on the near side for USF.
Oh, he's starting to have some miscues on the forehand. This is an opportunity for USF to split sets now. If Tulane can get this to 5-all, this would be the opportunity point for them to clinch.
This would be the only chance really for Tulane to have a quick finish here. And we're back to, again, the conversation ongoing throughout today between Boris and Moore. He has seen Moore fight back in the second set to go up 5-3. But let's go back over and where he has just evened it 1 set apiece. 6-3. Right now our focus on court 6, where it could come to a conclusion.
And these are those pressure points. Now you got Coach Boris talking to his player, giving him a little bit of an idea how to play the point. Beauty of college tennis, having these little quick conversations instead of pro basketball with a 20-second timeout or pro football with a 1-minute timeout. He can actually talk to him and keep play continuous.
Rutzel received that serve, 30-40.
And he misses another backhand. He nets 2 backhands in that instance. Primarily sort of just routine ones that he just got a little tight on.
So all of a sudden it's deuce, which means set point for the Bulls. At the same time, a chance to pull even 5 games apiece for the Green Wave. Burnett dropped the first set, trying to atone for that here with the serve.
Oh, he got just enough on it. Crunched the backhand. After missing a couple backhands, he loaded up and hit that one big.
That means Tulane could be just 2 games away from a championship here in 2018.
Not a good choice to try to take that forehand inside in. Should have hit that ball back cross court again.
Will it be Tim Rutzel clinching on court 6 a conference title for Tulane? Even 5 games apiece here in set 2. Rutzel up 1-0. We've already seen Tulane with singles victories on court 1, court 4, as well as court 3.
Oh, he dives. What a point.
A little flair for the dramatic.
I mean, he got up so quickly, the strength in that, and he wasn't with the way the rules in tennis go, if any part of his body touches the net after this fall, he loses the point. So here he spins without touching the net there, gets up, have the presence of mind to still close it off.
Puts it away with the backhand. You and I can try to reenact that later on.
You know, I'm going to let you try out for the All Madden team. I'm going to be okay there.
And that wide.
He was hobbling a little bit. I mean, somehow he tripped over his feet.
You see some of his teammates who have already wrapped up their matches, as well as his coach.
Well, it's tough. His teammates have to keep cheering both ways because there's no guarantee. You can't let the other points behind you slip away when you're hoping for this one. The cheerleading job is nonstop. It's a great pass.
We'll just note that our matchup on number 2 has gone to a third set as Ewan Moore did bounce back to take a second set and force the decisive third.
It's tough. I mean, you can't fault them for trying to apply pressure and come forward a little bit, but against the wind, just hitting a routine approach shot into his forehand is not going to always make him as uncomfortable as he needs to be to miss the pass.
Burnett awaits the serve from Rutzel.
And this has been some forehand miscues that he's been floating in the air and all the wind is blowing to the left of the screen.
And Rutzel all of a sudden could go up a game and be a game shy again of locking up that first ever championship. 40-15.
And it just, you know, the math works out that he happens to be on this side with the wind at his back these 2 games, which have been so pivotal. He'll still have to come to the other side against the wind to close out the match.
Rutzel inches ahead in what could be a decisive second set. Must win by 2, though, is the saving grace at the moment for the Bulls. Can they force a tie break? Or will Tim Rutzel, the man at the bottom of the lineup on court 6, be the hero today?
Only played a couple matches as a freshman, and now he's been a solid starter for Coach Boris, and he's really pleased with the progress he's made.
That top line, again, at one point read USF 1, Tulane nothing after the doubles point. But since then, Coach Boris has seen the first 3 singles matches wrap up all in his favor. Let's go to court 2, where we are in the midst of the third set right now. We mentioned Coach Boris had spent so much time talking to Ewan Moore. Moore bounced back in the second set to take it 6-3. Right now behind a game in set 3.
And it's hard. It's hard not to look at the scoreboard. He's looking at both of his teammates' scoreboards, so he's internalizing the moment right now as he's playing his points.
Well, we mentioned the way it is finished. No 2 adjacent courts are still in contention, so a little less busy surrounding these competitors. And you imagine that can be unnerving at times when you're accustomed to so much going on.
Oh, wow, that's a great backhand. That's a much more confident shot. And I think that that's a score-based confidence he's feeling. He was much tighter 2 games ago, but now 1 game away.
Tim Rutzel is looking to bounce back from yesterday's loss on court 6. The Kersnerman of UCF. That was in straight sets. He did pick up the singles victory back in the quarterfinals. He receives here love 15. 15-all.
This becomes even bigger because if you look at the other two positions, USF is 2-0 up in the third, and they're points away from winning down there. It's amazing how these matches can be so close. It's 3-1, but this could be 15 minutes away from 3-all, or it could be 2 minutes away from over.
You and I have been at some championships where all of a sudden, again, those dominoes fall quickly, and any lead you may have quickly evaporates and turns into a deficit. Bulls cannot afford to drop another court. Right now, Sean Burnett trying to hold off a Tulane championship celebration, serving 15-30. 30-all.
He has to go forward there. Simple basics. Deep middle return. Use your legs, go forward against the wind.
Moments ago, it was, again, Love 30 with Rutzel needing just 2 points to claim the championship. And 2 points later, still a couple shy.
Well, that's well played. But that's, as I talked to you about it before, trying to close out against the wind is not as easy. So playing on this side with the breeze behind you, that's a really good shot.
Well, Sean Burnett, although still facing match point with his serve, is looking to force a tie break and ultimately push this to a third set as well on court 6.
And he needs to kick the serve in and look for his forehand. That is tight.
And to the tie break we go on 6. Burnett keeping the Bulls in this.
The ghosts of Bulls past are keeping them alive. This is 9 lives. They've used 8.
A program that has never lost a match at the American tournament. As a result, they are your 4-time defending champions. This year, a different story. Came in as your 5 seed. They're looking for the same outcome. Into the tie break. First to 7, must win by 2 to take that second set.
And now Burnett has Mother Nature behind him for the first 6 points. Oh, that's a great response to the let court.
And the first point will go to Sean Burnett, or pardon me, to Rutzel.
So we have a match point.
Well, we're going to go from one extreme to the other. From court 6 all the way down to court 5.
Match point. And that is just, he crushed that match point like it was like a ball machine.
Jakub Wojcik has been a fun young man to watch tonight, as he gives the Bulls their first singles point and pulls them now within 2 points.
And that was tough at number 2 singles right as that net point was going on. The Bulls had a chance to go up 3-0 in the third, but they lost it. So now it's only 2-1 on serve instead of 3-0 ahead on the other remaining position.
USF just gained a cheerleader in Wojcik, fresh off his victory on court 5. That means we only have a couple courts being contested. 2 and 6.
Yeah, but he has to just keep running the same plays. It doesn't get old now. Get the point started, hit the heavy forehands with the wind, come forward when you can.
This is a tie break to either hold off Tulane if you're cheering on USF and force a third set here on court 6, or conversely for Tim Rutzel to be at the bottom of a dog pile.
Well played.
2-2.
The crosswind helps him, so he can actually move Burnett to the right and open up a lane like he did there and then come forward. That's really his best opportunity in terms of using a combination of strokes and conditions.
You're going to hear a little more involvement as all their teammates now lining the adjacent court.
And there he comes again.
And Rutzel now 4 points away from perhaps kicking off the celebration. Up 3-2 in the tie break against Sean Burnett, who forced this situation.
And then no one wants to be the guy to end the 4-year string, right? You don't want to be that guy. So these guys are going to give everything they have.
And Burnett levels it 3 apiece. First set went to Rutzel 6-3. We're in the second set right now. 6 games apiece in the tie break. They'll switch sides as we are evened up at 3 points apiece in the tiebreaker. So at the moment, action, only other court being at court 2 in the third set. You mentioned, Mark, could have been 3-0. Instead, it's 2-1.
Just a ginormous difference. Such.
And that keeps Ewan Moore in contention against Peter Bertrand. Moore took the second set 6-3 after dropping the first one, and we're back over to court 6 in the tie break.
Fight. This is great. This is what college tennis is all about here. Last match on, concentrated feelings. Guys going nuts on every point.
We'll stay here, obviously, for the rest of this tiebreaker with all the implications. Rutzel and Burnett. Moments ago, the Bulls got that elusive second point thanks to Wojcik on court 5. And in New Orleans, they played this match to completion, all 6 courts. As Tulane would win that match 6-1.
This is great. His guys have got him amped. He is in Braveheart mode right now.
Yeah, Burnett has had that fire burning. Right now leads 5-3. Now 5-4. Burnett still just 2 points away in this tie break from forcing a third set. And if he can do that, all of a sudden, everything is still up for grabs for USF.
And you have another 3-all point at number 2 singles right now, just as we're talking. And it's 2-all. It could have been 4-0, and it's 2-all at number 2 singles.
It's long. 5-5 in the tiebreaker. Either of these two men could be the hero today.
Yeah, and these guys just, it's just so important to stay emotionally neutral, and it's just not easy to do. That was a bit of a nervous slice. It just kind of floated in the air.
Rutzel has won the last 2.
Comes in. What a volley. I mean, it was, he sort of underplayed the approach shot just to make sure he made it. Good job by Rutzel to make him hit a volley, but look at that volley.
Must win the tiebreaker by 2, and Burnett can do exactly that right here.
Outstanding.
And this is still the second set. One of just 2 courts still being contested.
There it is.
On to set 3 we go. Sean Burnett holds off elimination and with it keeps the quest for 5 titles alive.
The ghost of the Bulls is still lurking around these grounds.
And all of a sudden, even though the Bulls are down 3-2 on the overall tally, this championship essentially a 50-50 proposition the rest of the way. Let's jump over to number 2 singles, where it is 2-all in set number 3. So literally the 2 remaining courts.
It could have been 4-0. There's 2 no-ad points there from 2-0 ahead.
A dead heat. Except it will be 30 serving 15 here. That serve is out. Second serve coming up. Again, Ewan Moore for Tulane. Peter Bertrand for USF. Bertrand took the first set. Moore bounced back in set 2. And thanks to Sean Burnett on court 6 for USF, this title went from being as close as you can get to a certainty for Tulane to all of a sudden again just about even odds.
Both of these guys coming into school had a lot of experience. Moore, top ITF player.
And it's a 3-game-to-2 advantage for Bertrand and USF in set 3.
Bertrand had gotten to the quarters of futures and had done fairly well, had a couple ATP points. So these guys have spent big moments. The difference is when you're out there playing a future or an ATP event by yourself, the level's high, but the investment and the responsibility to something bigger than yourself is not there. So these feelings, these moments, the execution, the experience that they've had have made them the players they've become, but this collegiate experience is just a different animal. And right now, these guys are going to have to draw everything out, the sum of all of their experiences to be able to get past the finish line for their teams.
So Bertrand with the slide advantage in the 3rd set. Remember, he had the victory over Moore. That was the only court that slipped away from Tulane on senior day 2 weeks ago. It was the court presumably the Bulls felt best about today. Right now the Bulls down overall 3-2. Thanks to some heroics on court 6.
Big statement because clearly the Tulane players have been coming forward and stayed committed to coming in the entire singles portion of yesterday and today. And so those approach shots being answered by passing shot winners possibly make them gun shy on their #1 tactic as a team. And now all of a sudden that's a miss forehand, but that's more of a miss because he's frustrated about the score.
We are going to stay with #2 singles here for a while as they are just now getting underway with the 3rd set over on court 6. Again, if the Bulls are going to win, all 6 singles courts will be played to completion. Tulane pulled it even, 1 apiece, then would quickly claim 2 more singles courts. Bulls have claimed the most recent point with Wojcik on court 5 to pull back within 1. And into the net. Now it's a 4-game-to-2, or pardon me, it'll be 40 love coming up. A chance to go up 4-games-to-2 in this 3rd set for Bertrand. As Ewan Moore serves, love 40.
Yeah, that's good footwork. He's handled all of the pace and the power, plus the wind, and just stayed steady until he drew the unforced error.
So Bertrand does, in fact, take that 6th game, now leading 4-2 in the 3rd set. And if he has it his way, he'll be a spectator soon enough on all the action over there at court 6. I'll point out Rutzel took the first game of the 3rd set over on court 6. Still plenty of tennis left to be played. Could not close it out in straight sets over there. We keep our attention here on court 2, where Bertrand is trying to level the overall scoreboard today at 3 points apiece and give USF their 2nd singles win on the day.
That's why it's so important to hit more of a 3/4 pace serve in this instance. Anytime you can get some first serve tennis, free points, short balls, just a big boost in the arm. The scoreboard down in the end is incorrect. That's a break for Rutzel. He's actually serving 1-0 in the 3rd. Oh, that's a great drop shot. Amazing feel there.
As Moore will level at 15-all. Trying to pull back within a game. Bertrand off the tape.
Oh my gosh, he overruled it and called it good. Oh, that's tough. That one was a little long.
Yeah, Boris didn't think it was close, nor did his pupil Moore.
Just wide. Bertrand's backhand is absolutely solid right now. No unforced errors coming from that side, and he's holding his ground and getting the ball deep and sometimes earning control of the point on the left side of the court.
Game point for Bertrand. That could put him within a game of match point.
This is only fitting if he closes this out that it comes down to the last match, and of course number 6 singles, which it happens so often. Comes down to the bottom positions.
So Bertrand takes the lead in the 3rd set on court 2, 5-2 now. Of course, that puts him within a game of leveling the overall score at 3 apiece. And of course, this would be the final domino to fall. Rutzel for Tulane at the top of your screen. And he will inch ahead 40-30 here in the 2nd game.
And what's tough about it is, Coach Ashley Fisher is staying on this match. He's trusting that Bertrand is going to get the job done, and he's going to try to keep supporting Burnett down here. But drop and serve right away, after the emotional roller coaster of winning that 2nd set, you have to stay neutral and keep the scoreboard tight in the situation. And right now,
if Tulane took that doubles point,
he's down 2-0 just like that. And that's what you fought so hard to stay in the match. And when it gets down to you officially, if Bertrand closes, you don't want to be so far away that the pressure on the other guy isn't enough to sort of tighten him again.
And Tulane is being asked to take 4 singles courts. They've already claimed 3. And now perhaps 4 games away from claiming that 4th.
It just shows you why that doubles point is so important.
They overcame losing the doubles point yesterday for just the 3rd time this year, able to overcome that. Let's go back over now to the only other court being contested. This is where the Bulls can officially level it at 3 points apiece. Peter Bertrand, Ewan Moore. Moore with the serve for Tulane. Bottom of your screen. Down 2 games to 5 in the third set. Serving Love 15.
Double.
A double fault. And just about everything working against Moore right now. He's on this end of the court.
And his level of concentration now and engagement, he was fortunate to be at 2-all, but 2 really solid games from Bertrand, and then maybe an unlucky line call there at Love 30 in the last game, and he just doesn't look like he has an idea of what he needs to do at this point.
Bertrand 2 points away from taking this matchup. And Moore just struggling to find his serve.
Yeah, it's really good tennis. Then move up to the short ball. That's just too against the wind. The ball stays down, and so he's moving up to that like it's an easy shot. There's no such thing as an easy shot, especially with the pressure and the conditions out here. You have to take care of every single ball. That was a little bit of a mental faux pas for Bertrand when he's been so rock solid the last few minutes.
That'll make it 30-15 for this next serve from Ewan Moore. Every now and then Moore takes a glance over to his right, where court 6 is right in his field of vision. That's the only other action still underway. And a second serve will be required again.
Good job. Good concentration. There's a lot of spin on that passing shot from Bertrand, and kind of curved into him, but he was able to get the volley down and still hold position.
So 30-30 here in this 8th game of the third set. The serve for Moore, trailing 2 games to 5. And Bertrand is still 2 points away from claiming court number 2.
Yeah, Bertrand's been money on the backhand. He's stepping in there, taking the ball early. I mean, it was a well hit ball, but down the middle, he's balanced, he has time, he has opportunity, and his feet are set. It's just well done. Before he was even able to split step, the ball was already by him.
The senior from Santiago, Dominican Republic, Peter Bertrand, with a chance to make it 3-3 here. Bertrand able to recover, and that one's just long.
Just long.
But Bertrand may have gotten a little banged up there. Again, he had a slip.
And he had made all the lobs for the last 30 minutes. I mean, his lobbing accuracy was uncanny. He just barely missed that one. It's not easy to find that topspin lob on a breezy day as well.
See the score behind him. This right here, just long, leads to deuce. Or second serve, he's told is just off. And a double fault will give Bertrand court number 2. And it means officially we're tied 3 points apiece in Dallas with 1 court left to decide your 2018 championship. Well, Mark Bay, which court should we zoom in on now?
I don't think there's any other choice, Lincoln. Court 6.
Let's go to court 6, where they will monopolize our attention for the rest of the way. Tulane rattled off the first 3 singles points. The Bulls have claimed the last 2. And of course, the reason why we're still playing tennis, the efforts of Sean Burnett for USF at the top of your screen right now. In a tiebreak, winning the 2nd set, forcing this 3rd.
Well, that's a great job. So precise on the approach shot, right to the target, and then quick feet closing the backhand volleys.
That was a game point that he's able to hold off. He'll need to do so again. Right now, Rutzel leads 2 games to 1. Here in this 3rd set, serving 40-30. Rutzel took the first 2 games. Burnett, the last one.
And the thing now is that Rutzel knows it's on him again. You know, he may or may not have been paying attention to the scoreboard on the other side, but now he knows. I mean, he wasn't able to close it in the 2nd, and that feeling that is on you and you have to get it done. I'm not sure right now. I'd love to know how both of these players have played in this position, in closing position, in their 3 all points.
Oh, they're not keeping track of no ad.
No, not keeping track of the no ad, but I mean,
No,
like,
I know.
actually when the team scores.
What are the odds they're keeping track of this?
No, they're not keeping track. But
again,
yeah.
it is deuce right now. Just a coincidence. No ad situation.
And he's missed a fair amount of these forehand returns. That is significant.
That was the difference to us being even 2 games apiece in the 3rd set. Literally in this rubber match between these 2 programs. But instead, it's Rutzel up 3 games to 1 in this final set of tennis to be played today.
And if that would have gone 2-all, I would have probably felt like it would have been an advantage for USF. Right now, you have to say scoreboard-wise, Tulane has an advantage, but because that's just the fact of the numbers. But
there's something demoralizing about
not being able to keep
being up 3-1. A chance to close it out on court 6 about 20 minutes ago or so.
Oh, look at that volley. That is darn good. Coming forward and the development, I mean, Coach Boris spending the time with these players, and now that's a big moment there, and that's a great pass, and that's an even better volley.
So for USF, we've seen Wojcik and Bertrand each win their individual matchups. If Burnett can do it, the Bulls will have taken the required 3 individual courts after their doubles point to claim another title. Otherwise, Tulane becomes just the 2nd program ever to win a men's tournament here in the American.
Great defense. Amazing hustle there by Burnett, covering from side to side.
So Burnett now up 30-15 here in this 5th game, but trailing 3 games to 1. And the 2nd serve coming up for Sean Burnett. couple of sophomores with a championship on the line. Long.
Missed it. I think that Rutzel's done enough inside the service box to earn some respect from Burnett. There's a little bit of tension there. Instead of settling in and just challenging him and making him hit another volley, he probably felt the pressure of having to do a little bit better because some of his solid passing shots have actually ended up being great volleys on the racket of his opponent. Yeah, that's a great play.
Well, as we have simplified it down to one court, of course, that has simplified the viewing options for all the fans in attendance as they have shifted down to court 6. All of these men's teammates and coaches are in the court next to them on court 4. As just about anywhere else here at Turpin Stadium has gotten a little lonely. This is now your championship court.
Wow. Yeah, that's a routine ball. He just didn't move up to it.
That was a chance to pull within a game in his 3rd set. All of a sudden in danger of falling down by 3 games. Deuce.
Oh my goodness.
And Rutzel will take it now 4 games to 1. Here in a decisive 3rd set. 2 games away from a Tulane title.
That's great body control on that. Open stance backhand, kept his head above his waist, just steered it. Really good technique there. Didn't try to do too much, use the speed of the shot. Unfortunate there. I mean, Burnett just missed a routine forehand in the middle of the game that he should have missed.
And of course, with no other matches underway, all of the coaches in the ear of Rutzel, giving him some advice.
Yeah, but I mean, he's just won, both games against the wind, and now he comes back with the win and all the opportunities. So he's gonna have to, stay in the present and play each point. But the circumstances are definitely on his side now. Because after not getting it done that 2nd set, he needed to pressure perform. He needed to win a few no-ads to feel better about himself. And he's gotten that now.
Again, he claimed the first 2 games here in this 3rd set after that tie-break loss, seeing set 2 slip away. The sophomore now up 4 games to 1. Again, one of your stories still is the play of Sean Burnett on the receiving end of these serves right now. Able to hold off a chance for Tulane to clinch the title in set 2. Since then, he has seen teammates wrap up the rest of the competition here at Turpin Stadium, pull USF even at 3-all, and Burnett still in a position to close it out if he can complete the comeback. But right now, that's a tall task against Rutzel, up 4 games to 1 in set 3.
But all you can do is play the conditions, get the points started, and try the best you can to win the first point of the game. And you get ahead in the game by a point or so, the weight and responsibility on the shoulders of Rutzel can actually sometimes cause some problems.
Rutzel defensive.
Yeah.
Love 30.
And that was more of a I'm down low 15, and he sort of approached, and it wasn't substantial enough damage on their approach to cause a problem. So Burnett was able to line him up, rip a couple big shots right at him, which is a good way to play. And yeah, he's going to take his time, because if he ends up dropping the serve here, the plot can thicken. Yeah, that's been the Achilles heel so far in the third set. It's been some forehand returns that have been miscued. He's got to simplify the target and keep going forward. Somehow he's letting the ball get to him. He's playing deep in the court, get a little wristy, get a little nervous, and then the shanks come about, especially on a windy day.
Burnett's looking for his first singles win this week. What a big one it would be. And Rutzel with a win 2 days ago in the quarterfinals against ECU, but fell yesterday in straight sets on court 6 to UCF. Rutzel took the first set 6-3. A tie break went the way of Burnett in set 2.
Oh, no.
Spikes that one home and now has the advantage, 40-30.
Pretty gutsy. You know, Ashley Fisher does a great job of making sure that he broke a string on that one, making sure that his guy just stays in the present and stays relaxed, and that's helpful right now. I mean, both of these boys are feeling outstanding pressure. They both have been developed. There weren't guys that were major contributors in the lineup before, and now the weight of a conference championship on their shoulders to get it done here. Missed it. And that's not easy to go when you've been playing a match for 2 hours, 3 hours with the same racket, and then you just pick a new one up right out of your bag after you pop the string. I mean, strings pop at the darndest times, and so he had to actually play a pretty solid point there and make sure he was in play.
Sean Burnett takes the game, is back within 2. Trailing 4-2 here in the third set to Rutzel. Coach Boris and the rest of the Green Wave.
And we talked about this before yesterday. No time clock, no fouls and free throws, no running out the clock and dropping down on one knee. Rutzel has to finish this.
But again, he falls behind early.
Yeah, the first points of the game just start that momentum shift.
30 love. The serve with Burnett. Trying to pull within a game.
Oh, yeah.
So Burnett now a point away from pulling a game back.
And it's wild. It just shows you what pressure can do in a match where playing on the side where Rutzel is actually mattered. Playing with the wind has mattered this match. We're a point away from 4 straight games won by the player against the wind.
Anything to be said for the fact that they're up against a wall to their right? They're enclosed on 3 of the 4 sides of the court.
That's a good point, but it's still blowing, unfortunately. I mean, there's also a bit of an opening there a bit outside. We're right next to the Highway 75. There's definitely some breeze down there.
Traffic is moving for those of you interested. Right now, Tulane 3, USF 3. All courts have been played to completion except right here on court 6. A couple of sophomores. Tulane's Rutzel at the top of your screen. Burnett for USF at the bottom. And that one will go long. And now that's 2 straight points for Rutzel.
Yeah, all you can do is stay in the now. Reset like bowling pins and keep doing it again.
They'll be receiving 40-30 now.
And there it is. 4 straight games against the wind. Now, granted, I talked to Carl Newfield about this wall. It was millions of dollars. It's a special wall. They'd figured out how high it needed to be to actually work on not having a major wind disturbance for the courts.
And a fantastic facility that we've been able to feature both inside yesterday for the Women's Championship. You take a look here outside now at Turpin Stadium. Now the skyline is we're right on the perimeter of the SMU campus. And it's all come down to court 6 for the championship here in the American. Boris talking to one of his 3 Germans, the sophomore Rutzel out of Munich. And across the way, I don't know if Burnett needs much of a pep talk, but that's a good man to listen to in Ashley Fisher.
Yeah, Ashley just has the right balance of, we want to do this, and I'm behind you, at the same time supporting them and giving them good quality information. That bench coach demeanor from both of these guys is top shelf, and for sure these players are given the best opportunity to win this match for their schools. I don't feel like there's no Bobby Knight chairs being thrown right now, but
Ashley Fisher, remember, inherited a Bulls program that were your 3-time champions, and all he does in his debut year at the helm is win Coach of the Year in the American and continue the winning ways in the tournament. They beat UCF last year 4-1 in Orlando in that rivalry for the title. But the Bulls right now are trying to avenge their last loss of the season. And they went to New Orleans and fell to Tulane in convincing fashion. Tulane on senior day. They played all matches to completion. It was a 6-1 final for the Green Wave.
Well, let's see what happens this game, Lincoln. Of the 7 games that were played, the person that won the first point in the game won the game. It's been one of these momentum streaks relative to the very beginnings of the games, and now that 1-point lead gives Rutzel enough confidence to find that forehand.
Rutzel is still up, albeit now just 4 games to 3 in the 3rd set. His teammates look on, but Rutzel serving 30 love. Now 40 love.
Another, so that's 2 forehand returns, and that's been sort of the Achilles heel here in the 3rd set. Routine returns that should probably be played deep middle. Just can't afford to miss, you know, a 1.5 or an inch wide at this score.
Lincoln Rose, Mark Bay with you here on the American Digital Network. Live coverage of the Men's Tennis Championship. We'll hear from Haley Outen soon enough with the winners. They'll be wearing green. The question is, will it be the Bulls or the Green Wave of Tulane this year?
That's well played.
Yeah, Rutzel sends that one wide. And it'll be 40-15 for his next serve.
Just have to keep settling in and running good, simple patterns like that. Forehand into the backhand from that side. Big time. Big time.
And Rutzel now pulls Tulane within one game of the university's first team title in the American.
That's where the help is. The wind's still blowing to the left of the screen, and we have 5 straight games won against the wind. 5 straight.
Well, the serve will go to Burnett.
Oh, I'm now concerned about who wins his first point. Right on the line. Good sportsmanship, good line call. Very important to see that.
So Rutzel will surrender that first point of the serve from Burnett. 15 love. Burnett down 5 games to 3 in this elimination set.
He looks a little better though. That look he had from 4-1 to 4-3, just wasn't sure where he was. And
it's a Bulls team that played 5 American opponents during the regular season, just won 2 of them. Among their 3 losses, we've noted repeatedly, Tulane just 2 weeks ago. Rutzel with plenty of space, makes no mistake.
did a nice job with that passing shot. Great athleticism, and once he got the passing shot down, took off athletically, ran, was able to cover the short volley easily. That's just a great passing shot there.
This puts Tulane within 2 points of being the first team to topple USF in the American postseason. But Burnett has had a way today of holding off what we thought was the inevitable. 30-all. If it wasn't for Burnett, his teammates would have seen their day end over a half hour ago.
Yeah, it's a big shot.
Serving 40-30 now.
Not a good time to take that one up the line. Should have probably stayed cross court. It's hard because you're thinking if you don't hit it well enough, he's going to keep hitting the inside out forehand there, but wow. So there you go. First game with the win at their back in a while, but still 8 out of 9 now for the player that won the first point of the game, the set.
Burnett with the ace, pulls within a game. 5-4 is Rutzel's lead here in this third set. He was within 2 points most recently of locking up the title for 29th ranked Tulane. We step aside. When we come back, the final stretch here in set 3 on court 6. A championship within reach for both the Green Wave and the Bulls.
There are other people just like you. Driven, determined, those who use passion to spark creation. Others who are ready to unite and discover together. It all starts with you and continues with us, the University of South Florida.
Back in Dallas, Lincoln Rose, Mark Bay with you here on the American Digital Network. Court 6, you see the tally over the shoulder of Rutzel of how this one has played out. He took the first set 6-3, had a chance to lock up the championship in set 2, but not interested. And that storyline was his opponent today, Sean Burnett. Won the second set in a comeback, forcing a tiebreaker that would go Burnett's way. Now Burnett has pulled within a game and takes
the first point. I'm telling you, right now.
So you're telling me this is going 5-5.
I mean, so far right now, I followed tennis for a while. I studied some statistics a bit, but when the server's serving it out and they won the first point, it was like a 71% clip. But anything's possible right now with this one.
And Burnett for the Bulls here on the near side. Rutzel, his fellow sophomore across the way for Tulane.
I don't know. Looks like it just looks like it's one of these days.
This day has gotten a lot better for USF. Of course, they took the doubles point. They won the 2 courts, did not drop a court. The third one went uncompleted.
It's the ghost of the Bulls lurking around here in Turpin Stadium.
Mark refers to the Ghost of Bulls past program that has won the previous 4 championships. It was a different title this year.
The lob lands in. Oh no, it looked like he was in suspended animation as he was jumping there. Like he hits this, he looks in pretty good position. He split step and he, oh, wow. That could be match saving shot.
Again, got it past the 5'11" Burnett.
I mean, 40 love versus 15-30 there is just a big, big difference with no ad scoring.
Rutzel can level it 30 all here with his serve. .30.
Uh-oh.
And no.
Oh, that's tough.
It's going to be 15-40.
It's a game of inches. It's a really, that's a tough, tough line call there. It's a hard one.
That's long.
Yeah. Just this, oh, it looks like it's.
And I know you're not going to be able to convince anybody for Tulane that that ball was out, but that angle looked to confirm the call.
Just like an inch.
All of a sudden, Burnett a point away from making this again a dead heat. Yeah. Double fault. 5 games apiece here in the third set.
9 out of 10 won by the person that's won the first point.
So this next game will not be a championship clincher. Still have to win by 2. And Rutzel has seen every advantage that he's held on court 6 here now evaporate. Burnett playing for the first time in a while.
From even.
On even ground. Go ahead and give this game to Rutzel.
I mean, I don't know what to say anymore. I'm just staying tuned, just like everyone else here. That's a good ball, though. I mean, he had, at least after, you know, making a couple of bad mistakes there, that's a good, solid, offensive body language on that approach shot coming forward there. Didn't take a lot of risk, and the winner was obviously able to help his approach out a little bit. Yeah, now left 30 yards.
So Rutzel still has not surrendered a lead here late.
Yeah, I'm good friends with Ty Tucker. He's one of the top coaches in college tennis for the Ohio State Buckeyes, and he literally practices with his players to win the first point of the game. And I'll actually train them to actually say, "I've got it, coach," and get into the habit that that's what is required. Just not accepting to be behind right away on the service game.
Burnett continues his serve.
That is so unlucky.
It'll be love 40.
That was well hit. It wasn't a bad ball. He had to put a little bit of air on it just to make sure he got it down. At love 30 with that score, he has to be a little bit safe.
Burnett today has continued to climb what it's sometimes been hills, other times mountains. Reached the top, just has not been able to get over to the other side just yet with a lead. And now has slipped down a bit, serving love 40 here in this 11th game of the third set.
And there it is.
And Rutzel again with a game up.
10 out of 11.
And either this will be the championship clincher or the tournament will be determined on a tiebreaker.
Absolutely amazing. I'd love to have these coaches mic'd up right now. I'd like to hear the message right from both Ashley and Coach Boris.
Again, Rutzel has not let the frustration get to him, the sophomore. Long ways from home. Had a chance to lock it up in that second set, but the man in his way. You just see the body language there between.
Yeah, I mean, you love both of these guys.
To his head coach, Ashley Fisher.
I mean, you love them both. You want them both to win. You know, they're both great boys. It would be wonderful for Tulane and Boris to get there first. And what a story from what Fisher's going through this season to be able to pull it. I mean, it's just it's a wonderful ending either way. Should I flip a coin, or who are you taking on this first point?
Rutzel with the serve.
Oh my gosh, he's in.
So Rutzel now in the driver's seat.
Yeah, I just feel that after he lost the game to go 5-all, and he had the lead, he just didn't look as defeated as I've seen many people in that position with all of the opportunities he's lost. He still was fairly centered emotionally, and he played a good solid point that first point. So it's good on him character-wise that he was able to bounce back, because he's had a lot of momentum go against him when it's closing time.
Tim Rutzel now 3 points away from putting an end to this.
And there's another forehand return error.
2 points away.
And he's committed to serving forehand now, both sides, looking to try to draw that.
It is 30 love. And we could be a point away from not just match point on court 6, but championship point here in Dallas.
So he's got to go serve forehand. And Burnett's got to get the return deep middle and try to hit inside out forehands. And he goes big there.
The closest Tulane has been all day.
4. Serve forehand, first ball cross court with the conditions.
It's all come down to court 6. All Bulls and Green Wave looking on. The sophomore Tim Rutzel matched up with his fellow sophomore Sean Burnett. This is your match point, 40 love.
Oh my gosh.
The championship will ride the Green Wave to New Orleans. Tulane will topple the 4-time champions, and with it, The automatic bid for the Green Wave to the NCAA tournament.
Well, that's tough. That's really a perfect example of what college tennis, the sportsmanship, the energy, the tennis, the pandemonium. I mean, what an effort.
Tim Rutzel and the Tulane Green Wave, your 2018 American
Slips
champions.
and falls, hits a one-hander, and it's a single pass winner.
It was a delayed celebration, but in the end, Tulane hands USF its first ever loss in a conference tournament, and yet this year a different path for the Bulls as the 5 seed. But the Green Wave able to hold them off. Tulane becomes just the second men's program to win the tennis title in the American Athletic Conference. Stay tuned. We'll have the award ceremony, and our Haley Outen will have a chance to check in with some of the newest champions. What a day of tennis to cap this week of tennis. Final score 4-3 Tulane. Your champions in the American will step aside when we come back to Dallas. The trophy to be presented to the Green Wave and head coach Mark Boris.
When it comes to learning at Tulane University, there are no boundaries. Architects and scientists in New Orleans, doctors and public health experts in Africa, history and language scholars in Latin America, legal students and professors in Europe, business students in Asia. Tulanians are all over the globe, and the world is their oyster. We've got that, and a lot more, right here at Tulane University.
There are other people just like you, driven, determined, those who use passion to spark creation. Others who are ready to unite and discover together. It all starts with you and continues with us, the University of South Florida.
Well, an eventful week here in Dallas comes to a conclusion. Yesterday, Tulsa, your women's champion, and today, Tulane, as your number 2 seed, becomes the first team to hand USF a defeat in American postseason play. And their reward, they are your champions here in 2018 in Dallas, and will have that automatic bid to take them back to the NCAA tournament. Lane Rose, Mark Bay with you. And Mark, it was a day where we saw so much talent on display out there, of course, for USF, some nationally ranked, for Tulane, some nationally ranked individuals and a nationally ranked tandem. But they dropped that singles point all year long. They only won twice when they dropped the singles point. Now in the last 2 days, they won twice after dropping that, I say singles point, doubles point, and ultimately capture 4 courts during singles.
Yeah, what an amazing combination of experiences. Losing the doubles point and going 4 the hard way 2 days in a row is not easy. This tournament is full of amazing players, levels, competition, and it's been a weekend for the T schools. Tulsa and Tulane both getting it done. Obviously, Horford is a bit of a dynasty over there at Tulane with being in the final so many years in a row, and USF sort of not the end of a dynasty, but just, you know, obviously the end of an amazing 4 straight years of championships, and so close today, but just.
Again, the Bulls were playing all year long, basically with one arm tied behind their back, with Justin Roberts out for the year. Expected to be among the top men in their lineup. That's the difference as they wind up being the 5 seed coming into this week, but started to regain their own form, some dramatic comebacks of their own. And it was like the Patriots limping into the playoffs at 8-8, but still finding their way to the Super Bowl. The Bulls back where they belonged in the final, but Mark Boris in year 9 with a program that it only took him a few years to get back into the national rankings, reinventing this tennis program after it went dormant for 4 years after Hurricane Katrina, has given the university its first team title in the American.
Yeah, amazing for Mark. Obviously come a long way from Homewood Flossmoor, and his mom, Georgine Boris, was a big-time stalwart in tennis in Chicago and referee. And, you know, Jamie Boris, obviously a great player. He's had a big tennis pedigree and real soft-spoken guy. But today, hopefully, the soft-spoken guy can yell loud and have some enjoyment because he's really deserved it. What a great job today.
Let's listen in to the awards ceremony before we get a chance to check in with the champions.
Brandon Stewart, Senior Associate Athletic Director and Senior Women's Administrator for UCF. Lauren Du Bois, Senior Associate Athletic Director for UCF. And Tim Feast, Senior Associate Athletic Director for Temple. On behalf of the entire membership, we would like to thank the host institution, SMU, and its athletic department staff for helping to put on such a great event. We would especially like to recognize Chris Harris, Tournament Director, Nathan Magi, and Eric Schulman, Assistant Tournament Directors, and the SMU Athletic Training and Event Management staff for all their efforts. We would also like to thank our tournament referees, Head Referee Steve Laro and Deputy Referee Mike Butler, as well as all of the tournament officials for the fine job they did. First, let's get a warm round of applause for the 2018 Men's Tennis Championship runner-up, the Bulls from USF. Accepting the 2018 American Athletic Conference Men's Tennis Championship Team Runner-Up Trophy are the Bulls team captains. Congratulations once again to the 2018 American Athletic Conference Championship runner-up, the USF Bulls. And now, congratulations to the 2018 American Athletic Conference Men's Championship, the Clinching. Accepting the 2018 American Athletic Conference Men's Tennis Championship Team Trophy is Konstantin Schmitz. As I call each Tulane team member, please come forward to accept your championship award. Luis Erlenbush. Ewan Moore. Tim Rutzel. Tyler Schick. Konstantin Schmitz. Hamish Stewart. Eric Wagner. Assistant coach Chris Simpson. And Tulane head coach Mark Boris.
Again, congratulations to Tulane, the champions, and of course, Konstantin Schmitz, your individual standout player of the week, as he would ultimately go 2-0 in singles.
Congratulations once again to the 2018 American Athletic Conference Men's Tennis Tournament champion, the Tulane Green Wave.
And now the Green Wave will shift their attention ahead to the NCAA tournament coming up.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 2018 American Athletic Conference Men's Tennis Tournament most outstanding player, Konstantin Schmitz. Thanks to everyone for supporting American Athletic Conference Men's Tennis. Congratulations to all. Have a good evening and please drive home safely. Except for me? Wow.
And in a moment, our Haley Outen will have a chance to check in with a couple of the champions as Konstantin, along with his new hardware, will make his way over to Haley. And let's go ahead and check in with Haley Outen again, joined by Konstantin Schmitz.
Konstantin, congratulations on this championship. Your team in back-to-back days has had to fight back after dropping the doubles point. Why was your team able to be so successful in singles?
Just came down to belief. We were in a tough position in both days, like you said, after losing the doubles, but we believe in each other and we believe in our single points, and every time we go on the single course we say 6 points on the line, let's go get them all. So tough battle yesterday and even tougher battle today, but so happy we pulled it off today, and it's an unreal feeling.
You're a senior. What is this moment like to be able to cap off this portion of your career and head into the NCAA tournament on this note?
Unbelievable. It's crazy. I can't really describe it. I've been waiting for this 3.5 years. Last 3 years, USF, great job for them, but that was one of the biggest goals since I started at Tulane, and finally in my last year we got this trophy and this title. It's amazing to share with my teammates and my coaches.
It was such an exciting finish. I have to ask you, what was it like as you were waiting for the match to conclude on court 6? How nerve-wracking was that?
Yeah, it's unreal. Playing is one thing, but then standing there and just watching and basically not doing anything, just hoping that your teammate pulls it off is nerve-wracking. But great job, Tim, closing it out at the end. It's big heart and yeah, great belief.
Congratulations. Good luck in the NCAA tournament.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Lincoln?
Thank you, Haley, and we'll check back in with Haley in just a moment as she'll have the championship-winning head coach, Mark Boris. But we saw all 6 singles matches played to conclusion. Tulane had the burden of winning 4 of the 6, and that's exactly what they did after dropping the doubles point. As we check back in with Haley and Coach.
Coach, in back-to-back days, your team has dropped the doubles point but managed to get the job done in singles. Why was that?
Oh, these guys resolve. I mean, just understanding what's necessary. It's a 3-hour match. There's 7 points out there. You know, obviously the doubles point means so much, and it's a huge momentum swing. But the guys know that there's 6 more points out there, and they believe in what they can do in singles. And that was a big word that we used here this whole week and for the last 4 years. Konstantin Sr. has been listening to me saying this about believing in yourself, believing in your teammates. And it was great to see Tim Roots will come through like that at the end and that belief.
You mentioned to me yesterday that the key to victory would be composure. Was that the difference today?
Well, I think it definitely helped us. You know, I mean, you look at what happened, how they just jumped all over us in doubles, and then all of a sudden we got our composure in the break and came back out in singles and really came out with a bang. And then even in some of these matches that were up and down, especially you see on Tim Roots' court, you know, how he was up and then all of a sudden he was down and lose a set, and all of a sudden the momentum of the match changes. And they went on 5, they went on 2. Boy, just totally different match in about a 10-minute span. It turned from us being in control to them having all the momentum. And your hats off to Ashley Fisher. Wow, I mean, what an unbelievable job he does with his team every year. 2 weeks ago we played them and it was a totally different match. And then all of a sudden you see them running through teams, and he's really a fantastic coach. And you got to give a lot of credit to his guys for being able to put this a run like this together.
Your lone senior, Konstantin Schmitz, just named the tournament's most outstanding player. How proud are you that he gets to head into the NCAA tournament with a championship under his belt?
Yeah, I mean, it's so exciting. We've been talking about this. I've been talking about this for 9 years, 10 years or something. I've been watching these guys win titles, and, you know, we get a couple runner-ups, a couple semifinals, whatever it is. But I mean, you know, this is our big team goal. You know, every year we want to get a conference title, we want to host regionals. Those are the two big things we want to do, and it's always been out there in front of us. And for Connie to be able to lead us that way, and we've had 4 great years under him. He's really done a great job on the court, off the court. As you know, he was the Student Athlete of the Year in tennis, men's tennis, which is fantastic. So he's not only doing good things on the court, but he's really a good student. And it's so great to see him lead us this way and be able to celebrate, you know, this type of championship.
Coach, this is the first American Conference Tournament team title in Tulane program history across any sport.
Whoa!
Cool, pretty cool, huh? How special is that to be the team to bring this back to New Orleans?
I didn't know that was actually true. Wow, wow. I'm humbled, first and foremost, humbled because I mean, we have so many great teams in our conference. I mean, look at just men's tennis alone. You know, we had every year it seems like we have 5 or 6 teams in the hunt, and even we're getting so deep now. I mean, you know, it's the depth of our conference is great, and so for us to be able to get a title and bring one home, bring the first one home for Tulane, that's very exciting. I didn't know that. Wow, caught me off guard.
Well, go celebrate this one. Congratulations, Coach, and good luck in the NCAAs.
Thanks so much, Haley.
Thanks. Lincoln.
Thank you very much, Haley. Again, there with Coach Boris, who's been in charge of this program ever since reinventing this program after Katrina. Mark, another example why we love college tennis today.
Yeah, amazing. Pressure performance is what it's all about, but it takes a lot of hard work and development to get to those points so you can believe and trust yourself. And I guess we need to figure the word believe is more important than anything right now.
For Tulane to claim its first ever American tennis title, it had to become the first team to ever beat USF in the American tournament. They do exactly that. And along the way, Tulane becomes your 2018 men's tennis champions in the American Athletic Conference. For our entire ADN crew, big thanks both yesterday and today with the women's and men's championships for Mark Bay and Haley Outen. I'm Lincoln Rose in Dallas. The title heading back to New Orleans as Tulane able to hold off USF 4-3. Your final here on the campus of SMU.